Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, you know? Just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me. Absolutely happened to me. I had, for years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hi, I'm Ashley Flowers, and if you're like me and grew up watching America's Most Wanted and reading Nancy Drew, then hi, you're a crime junkie. And I bet that passion for solving mysteries never went away, which is why we've assembled a team of reporters to dig deep into all the cases we still obsess over. Each Monday, my best friend Britt and I will bring you a case that you won't be able to stop thinking and talking about. So join us by listening to Crime Junkie wherever you listen to podcasts.
This week, in Caribou, Maine, a small and simple criminal act somehow ends up with a most brutal killing complete with swords and a hastily dug grave. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another crazy edition of Small Town Murder. This one, it's crazy. There's swords involved. How often do you see that? How often do you see ceremonial Japanese swords involved in our cases? Not usually. It's happened a couple of times.
Yeah.
But not usually, so we'll get to all that very quickly, though, at the top of the show. You definitely want to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets for live shows, not only in-person live shows, but the virtual live show coming on 4/20, April 20th, and we are going to make it a 4/20 spectacular celebration. I am going to get Jimmie stoned and make him giggle till his head turns the shade of a cherry. It's going to be amazing. You got to see that.
Can't wait.
It's going to be so much fun. And also get your tickets to regular live shows. We have Seattle and Portland coming up. 2 shows in Seattle, 2 shows in Portland, and then also Pittsburgh, Detroit, and the rest of the year is going on sale. When is it?
March 13th.
March 13th. The entire rest of the year is going on sale. You get your tickets. Chicago, I don't know, people have been clamoring for those, and all the whole rest of the year. And new dates announced as well.
You bet.
We are going to be in New York. We're going to be in Boston in November.
Do you want to give them the other one?
Dallas! Dallas is going to be down there. We're going to be in Dallas as well. And there's going to be a few cities we are not going to be able to get to this year just because of the way scheduling worked out. There was a lot of people still rescheduling things. It was very difficult. So Milwaukee, we're going to miss you this year. Phoenix, we apologize. I mean, Jimmie really wanted to do Phoenix because it's a
terrific.
you do a show without getting on a plane. That's amazing.
I pass the place when I go to the airport.
Absolutely. So shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get the tickets, where you get all the info. That is right there. You also want to definitely be a part of Patreon. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all the bonus stuff, whole back catalog of bonus stuff, including it's deep. And then you're going to get that. And every other week, you're going to get 2 new episodes, one crime and sports, one small town murder. You get access to it all. And for crime and sports this week, we're going to talk about And One, the company with the mixtapes and the sneakers that went from cool to Kohl's in like 10 years. So we'll talk about them. It was an empire to embarrassment in 10 years.
You betcha.
And then for small town murder, we're going to talk about something real gross. Sex in the People's Temple.
Yikes.
Meaning under Jim Jones, which is Jonestown and all of that. What happens when one man controls the sexual activity of 1,000 others? Really, really weird shit. We'll get into that. Patreon.com/crime and sports, once again, is where you get all that. And if you have not come out to a live show, come to a live show. It's not like a lecture. We don't sit there and go, well, here's a murder. It's a comedy show. We're comedians. So we're if a minute goes by and there's no laughter, we're both highly uncomfortable. So there's a lot of laughter. It's a comedy show. Happens to be a crazy murder story with pictures and all of that as well. So you can't beat it.
Anybody who went to Cleveland or St. Louis, they were incredible shows. Thank you all for coming to those shows.
Honestly.
Holy shit, how fun were those?
Those were amazing shows. Thank you, guys. St. Louis, huge crowd, too. That was wild. Thank you so much for coming out for us. And Cleveland, too. Awesome stuff. Thank you so much. So you do all of that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Also, now the disclaimer. It's a comedy show. We're comedians.
We are.
People die. We make jokes about it. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. We go out of we do have standards. We go out of our way not to make fun of the victim or the victim's family.
Why, James?
Because we're assholes.
Yeah,
but we're not scumbags. That's how that works. So if you think that sounds good to you, we're going to hear a wild show. If you think true crime and comedy never ever go together, maybe we're not for you. I don't know. We don't need to be friends with the whole world. You know what I'm saying?
It's not for everybody.
We're not for everybody, but we are for some people. So we might be for you. Stick around and find out. But no matter what you do, I think it's time to sit back. Let's clear the lungs here.
Yeah.
I want you. This is what I want you to do right now. I swear. Where you like your kid's soccer game right now? Yeah. I want you to run out to the middle of the field, shove an 8-year-old to the ground, throw your arms to the sky, and shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this, Jimmie. Shall we?
Okay.
Let's go on a trip. Here we go. We are going all the way to Maine this week. Yeah, Maine. We like Maine up there. It's a
last bastion of America, untainted. It's so beautiful.
It's pretty up there. Well, there's not a lot of taint to. We were in North Dakota last week. That's pretty untainted as well. There's just nobody up there, and they don't have an ocean. That's the thing. Maine is nice because there's an ocean. They have like
water.
Shellfish and shit like that. It's different. We're going to Caribou, Maine.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, because it's up there, boy. This is
far?
Way up there. Its nearest neighbor is, Canada and Moose. That's how it works.
Scotia.
It's up there. It's about almost 3 hours to Bangor if you go down there. So
really?
That's what I'm saying.
Banger's mad north.
It's like halfway up, Bangor, so that's a lot. And then 4 hours and 44 minutes to Portland, which is down the coast a little more.
It's like the last big city, right?
Yeah, if you want to call it that, I guess. And then 5 hours and 20 minutes to Sanford, which is our last episode, which was Satanic Stupidity. And that was the name of it. And it was there were a couple of morons there. So
it was stupid and satanic.
It was. County, this is in Aroostook County. Aroostook. Aroostook.
Aroostook.
I don't know. There's a lot of O's in that word. Area code 207. The motto here, and it's really just giving you a geographical fact, honestly. It's not really even they're not a stretch. I like that they're not trying to say something they're not. They're just telling you this is who we are. Quote, the most northeastern city in the United States.
Oh.
Geographically, I believe true.
That checks out.
That far up there, so I don't get it. History of this town, not surprising. Lumbermen and trappers set up the first camps here because
it's going to be people surviving on the land.
Yeah, there are a lot of beavers and pelts. Mm-hmm. Pelts will be involved, definitely.
There can't be. Are there beavers there? I guess there would be, huh?
There's probably. I assume there's trees and water and dams.
But there's caribou.
Why else would you call it that? The first settlers came here in the 1820s. The camp, the lumbermen and trappers were here 1810s. In about between 1838 and 1840, there was an undeclared war, the Aroostook War, it was called, and it was between the United States and Canada. Oh. And the Battle of Caribou occurred in December of 1838. Did you know this?
No.
This is not a cheese murder situation where I'm making this up. This is true.
Canada versus America fight.
Right. They fought each other at the Battle of Caribou, the battle of this town.
Clearly about property lines, right?
Maple syrup bombs going back and forth. If they get all over you, wait 3 minutes, you're stuck. You can't move. That's how it works. But the battle happened.
Loving Molotov log cabin tales.
It was over the international border, and it delayed settlement of the area until after a treaty was signed and everything. It was originally not called Caribou. It was called Linden for a while, and they changed it to Caribou in 1869, and then changed it back to Linden again, and then changed it back to Caribou again. So
what the fuck is happening?
I don't know what happened here. There's obviously a faction that wants it to be called Linden, a faction that wants it to be called Caribou. Whoever wins the mayoral race, they just switched it, I guess. And finally, it's probably the government finally said, "No, what is your goddamn name? What's your name, you beaver pelted asshole? Tell me what do you want to be called? We're tired of this."
They're sending my mail to New Jersey with this Linden shit.
No shit. In 1984, this became a big shipping place, by the way.
That makes sense.
And Caribou became the largest potato shipping hub in the world.
What?
In the 1960s. So the biggest potato shipping. Both, I think. Yeah, it's shipping.
It's coming and going. The port potatoes all over.
Port potato over here.
Who knew?
And I had no idea. In September of 84, Caribou was the liftoff location for the first successful solo balloon crossing of the Atlantic Ocean made by a lunatic named Colonel Joseph Kittinger.
Or a genius, James, because you know why? It is the most northeast city in continental America.
I don't know how genius you have to be to look at a map and go, that's the closest. There's the one. But he's
going to start in fucking Tallahassee.
That's a crazy bastard. I'm going to start in Cleveland and see where I go. So this flight is memorialized by the Rosie O'Grady Balloon of Peace Park, which is on Main Street.
O'Grady that did it.
She cut the rope, probably. I don't know what happened there. And the site includes a large replica of the balloon. So that's what they have going on here. Reviews of this town, mostly pretty good. Good here. People like it here. To stay up in a place like this, because the weather's extreme and shit like that, you have to love it, you know?
You got to be passionate.
Here's 5 stars. I've lived here my entire life and love it dearly. Wow. It's a beautiful town with very kind people, always willing to lend a helping hand. Well, especially if you've known them your whole life. They'll probably
and also,
be more willing to help
in the winter, you're probably going to need it. And then they'll lend a hand because guess what? They're probably going to need it.
Everyone's going to need to be pulled out of the snow once in a while here, I have a feeling. There is much opportunity to get out in nature and enjoy the world around you, such as hiking, swimming, or taking a scenic drive.
Oh, that is a cold.
I was just going to say, that's a chilly swim. If you like to swim in 54-degree water, this is a place for you in August.
Out of your fucking mind.
Wow, that is some hardy people up here.
Maybe swim.
Maybe they're wearing enough beaver pelt to keep themselves warm. I'm not sure.
You're going to need a wetsuit, that's for sure.
You're going to need a pelt suit, something. So 4 stars. Caribou is a good town. All right.
Okay.
That's good to know.
It's a good start.
They need educated peoples to embrace a new administration and provide jobs in the area. They're talking local politics. I have no idea what's going on the town council in Caribou, Maine, so no fucking clue what this refers to.
Evidently somebody's stupid, though.
Yeah, with our duly elect of 2017, so that's why I know it's not any national election of any kind, we may just accomplish this goal. There is much attention giving way to this, and all eyes are anxiously waiting to see the results of their choice. What the hell is this? This sounds like someone who learned English through like an internet program or like Babbel or something, and they've never spoken to someone who speaks English, and then they wrote this. Because I have no idea what's going on here. Our town is excited as anyone can observe in a canter about the city. Okay. Farmers mostly with a desire to see new things. With online educations, anything is possible, and we can reach anyone with a desire to learn. New technologies in the coming years, too, will bring exciting changes, not only with food, but also with us as well, increasing the quality of life. Thank you for this opportunity to write, Kurt, with a K. Kurt, I got to tell you, I don't know what you just said. I have no idea what you're talking about. I feel like you're happy with maybe the mayor, possibly, who got elected, and you're hoping for good things. Other than that, I have no clue what the fuck you just said.
Kurt's an optimist, James.
It sounds like he's got an upbeat vision of the town. 3 stars. Mm-hmm. Okay, Caribou is a small town, which means there isn't much to do, especially when you get older. Probably not a lot when you're younger either. Try being 17 in this town.
To do.
Yeah. As you're older, I don't know, as I get older, sitting becomes more of a, if someone.
A lot of, most of the things I do is I go places and then I sit there.
Yeah. And if someone asks you, what are you doing tonight? You're excited sometimes to tell them, sitting, nothing. That's exciting, isn't it? Just sitting.
I mean, yeah.
And they're like, oh, really? You're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be great. You're excited for that shit. You're like, I'm going to order
Everywhere
food.
I go, it's just to go somewhere else and sit.
Sit there a little while.
If I go to a sporting event, I'm going there to sit.
It's not like you're playing. Yeah, it's not like they're going to put you in right field and
just
have you shack fly balls. But the emptiness can be a good thing. True. It is often quiet, and watching the sunset and rise can be so peaceful. I bet it has to be unbelievably gorgeous. You know what I mean?
Oh, what a dream.
I've seen the pictures. The place is pretty. 3 stars. This area is beautiful, but there are not many things to do. School sports are a huge thing, but if you're not involved in extracurricular activities, it's very hard to make a name for yourself. This is a kid. This is a high school student.
Are you trying to make a name for yourself?
Trying to make a name for myself. In high school, kids in this town doing drugs was extremely common, but not everything about the town is bad.
Welcome to high school, dog.
You just described high school. You're more popular if you do sports, or if you're like, good looking, or whatever the thing is, talented, or there's kids that do drugs. They should have went on to say there's also kids who get really good grades, and some kids do gymnastics. And I know a kid who's here with 8 siblings, and that's weird because they're all in high school. How's that work? Shit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's another guy that doesn't speak the language here, and he came here because the guy that does speak the language went to where he's from.
He floated over there in a fucking balloon. So what do you want? Population 7,622. So not that many people for a kind of remote.
That's a pretty good size for that much that far out.
It's spread out pretty good though too here. Right. It is more male than female, which is odd. There's more outdoor jobs too, which tends to draw more of a male crowd. Yeah. Median age is 46.7, which is older than normal. A lot of older people. Everything over 35, all the demographics are high. Yeah. Under 35, they're all way, way less than they should be. There's twice as many 85 and older people here than normal. It is like...
I'm going to be one of them one day.
Me too. That sounds great. If you don't know, someday, if you want to find the two of us, we're going to be in Maine together. We're going to open like a little comedy club somewhere near water, and we're just going to sit...
in Portland?
And we're going to sit and eat shellfish while people bomb, and we're going to laugh and have a good time. That's exactly what our life is going to be when we're old men. I can't wait either. 10 more years, baby.
I want to be 85 in Maine at some point.
That's what I'm talking about. Family here, let's see, it's less married than normal because also we have, like I said, sometimes, single loggers will come up here. So 20% are single with children. So if you want to get out there and party a little bit, there's people that are in your boat. That's good. 91% or 91.5% white in this town. 3.6% black, which is way more than I expected, honestly.
Is that right?
Maine is not a very diverse state, but way up in the upper goddamn corner up here, I didn't expect any black people at all, but there's some.
That's not why James and I want to go there.
No. I want to go by the water. I don't want to see anybody of any color. That's what I'm saying. I only want to see things with fins and shells. I have no interest in human beings up there. That's my point.
I also want to be on the water, not in the water. Yeah. And everywhere else is where people want to be in the water. I want that.
I have no interest. I want to look at the water with a hoodie on. That's what I want to do. Yeah. Wear a hoodie and go, those waves look nice. That's what I'm trying to do.
Fire burning.
Yeah, with a fire, exactly. With a bunch of oysters and shit in it. Some sort of, I don't know what we're doing. We're having a shellfish bake of some kind.
Sounds fantastic.
We're doing it. I'm telling you. We're doing it. It's going to be fantastic. 2% Hispanic here, and that's pretty much all. There's 0.0% Asian. Religion, little less religious, 46% religious here, and the highest being Catholic, obviously, because as we know, the Catholics are the Baptists of the North. This is as far north as you get, so that's how it works. Far northeast as you get. 0.0% Jewish. Electorally, last election, 39% of the people in Aroostook County voted Democratic, 59.1% voted Republican, and 1.9% Independent. And the unemployment rate here is about average. Median household income here is a little bit low. It's $35,764 a month, which is it's usually about $53,000, so almost $54,000. That's low. But the cost of living's also low. 100 is regular. Par here it's $75,000. Median home cost here $109,800.
Oh my God. Don't tell me more.
A lot of cabins and trailers, though. That's why. That's the problem. But if we've convinced you, damn it, that you are going to get as far to the Northeast as humanly possible and still be in the United States, we have for you the Caribou, Maine Real Estate Report. Your average two-bedroom rental here goes for about $755 a month, which is well under the national average. This is a 3-apartment unit. There's three-unit apartment building you're buying here. It looks like dog shit, but it's altogether 7-bedroom, 3-bath. I don't know how it's broken up in the apartments.
Listen, you can open all the doors and just enjoy it all yourself.
That's what I mean. 1,608 square feet. There's no pictures of the inside, which is frightening. That scares me.
That's not good.
That's terrifying. There is plywood covering the attic window, so that's never a good sign.
Animals are living in here.
But $67,000.
Unbelievable.
So you can afford to knock a few walls down and chase a possum or two out of there.
Absolutely.
So
get yourself a broom and push them out.
Let's go. Out, little buddy. Here's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,100 square foot house. It's an old barn that they made into a house is what it looks like. It has to be. But it's pretty cool, actually. It's a kind of a weird house. It's hard to describe, honestly, because picture a barn that was made into a house and it doesn't look like a barn, but it's kind of a cool house.
Sometimes New England, it feels like there's no codes.
There might not be up here. Yeah.
You might be right.
It might have just been kind of put together over time.
No inspector came through when they did it.
No, they're like, where is it, Caribou? Oh, Jesus, never mind. I'm sure it's good. You're good.
We approve.
$234,900 for that, so not bad. And here's a nice little house, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,736 square feet, T-bowl for every beehole. Not bad. It's a nice house. It's really nice. There's some painting that could be fixed. The kids' room is lime green. They have a Bud Light-themed basement going on.
Oh, of course they do.
I'm sure they'll take all of that memorabilia with them. That's helpful.
Probably.
But $300,000 for this, though, which is
wow,
a great price for that size house. In the rest of the country, that would be way more expensive.
Is there acreage with it?
That's not too much, I don't think, but it's okay though. You don't see a lot of houses around you because it's on a hill thing. It's pretty, really nice.
Probably 40 acres.
That's the other thing too. It's probably 40 acres and like a lobster farm and everything else. Things to do here. There's a Build a Snowman contest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a whole thing that goes on. It's from February 17th to March 4th, and it includes...
Oh, my God. 3 weeks?
A lot of time to build this snowman. You never know when the snow's going to fall, Jimmy. Not only that, there's a bunch of other stuff that goes on over the course of this, and then at the end of that, we see who has the best snowman. It's a community-wide snowman contest. Compete to create your best snowman. Well, there you go.
Great.
There is business and homeowner class. There's different categories.
You can't have lens crafters competing with Tom and Joe down the street.
No, that's not going to work. So you got to register and pick up your sign at the Caribou Rec Center, and then send your photos to the Facebook page, and then they'll be posted, and winners will be announced later.
Oh, that's lazy as fuck. They don't even go see it?
No. Send a couple of people that talk with a heavy Maine accent, a couple of Pepperidge Farm members, a couple of those people. Send them around with a clipboard to look at these with big coats on to see this.
Send us a photo.
A photo. Jesus Christ. There's a historic tour and meal. Join us for a guided tour led by Brian's Ride at the former Loring Air Force Base, along with a hot dog roast and chicken stew. Ew.
What?
Chicken isn't a stew meat, by the way.
No, it's not.
There's a snow cross race at the Spud Speedway. Potato reference. There we go. Snow cross racing for 2 days. Holy shit.
This is with snow machines.
County Groomer Rodeo. That doesn't sound good.
What?
It's at the Spud Speedway. Join us to see local snowmobile club groomers compete in an obstacle course for the area title. That doesn't sound great at all.
I don't know. How do you snowmobile groom?
I don't know how you do that. Hey, buddy. How you doing, snowmobile?
Get the youngest snowmobile you can find.
Hey, snowmobile, you want to go out for some ice cream? How else would you? I don't know.
Put gummy bears in its tank.
I guess. Monster Truck Moose Mania. Maine. Yeah.
Moose Mania. Okay.
Maine. Yeah. Enjoy free monster truck rides during the snowcross race event. Oh boy. The Sledabration. Obviously, you're gonna.
They gotta stop.
It's a lot.
That's a stretch.
The Sledabration. I'll give you Moose Mania. I'll give you Mania. You're not getting Sledabration with Mania. You can have one or the other. I'm advising you pick Mania, but
Mania is the given. It's right there.
It's better.
Celebration doesn't make any sense.
There's a Rave X stunt show. Check out the snowmobile backflips and high-flying action. Snowmobile backflips. That sounds
James. It's
so
psychotic.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Jesus, those things weigh a ton. If that falls on you, your organs are going to shoot out into the audience. That sounds terrifying.
People die on those every year.
I bet. Snowcross race. There's all sorts of shit like that. Also, a Crown of Maine Balloon Fest that has balloon racing, and I don't know if you have to go all the way across the Atlantic or not, but whatever. Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in here. Property crime, about 1/3 under the national average. So it's cold. What are you going to steal? You're shivering. Although you are wearing a big coat to hide things in, so.
I lost toes. I can't tell if somebody stole them, but
I'm not positive.
I'm missing them.
Violent crime, though, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime is about half the national average. So, I mean, it's too chilly. It's just too cold up there to do that. If you just swam in 55-degree water, you are not going to be violent. You're going to be very docile for a while, probably.
Yeah.
That said, let's talk about a murder. What do you say?
Let's do that. I can't wait.
Let's do it, boy, because you know it's going to be odd. Anywhere.
This area, go ahead.
No, you please.
This area of the country, all bets are off because you have the fringe people, then you have the people that just want to be out of the city.
Yeah,
it's just such a hodgepodge mix of real fucking instability. Anything can happen.
It's an extreme geographical location. So anywhere where you have an extreme geographic location in the United States, you have oddities, and that's what
Absolutely.
it is. Like we said, the western states, people would go there to escape. Well, people would come here to escape too. And some people grew up here and they haven't really been other places, and then some people just moved here because it's beautiful, and it is a hodgepodge, and you're gonna get weird every time. That's the only way to put it. I don't know how to phrase it other than it's going to be a little weird up there. So it's kind of like Upper Michigan when it comes to that. You go, it's going to be strange if it's happening in the UP. So, it's going to be weird. You just know it.
These are people that escaped Wisconsin to be over here.
Now there's no damn people. You're like, well, no, it's colder too. So spring of 1978, let's go to.
Oh, spring
of 1978. Oh, my goodness. Imagine this. The haircuts. Yeah. Jesus Christ. The polyester is everywhere. It's everywhere.
7 winter is thawing out.
By 78, polyester is the fabric of the land. It's everything. Yeah. So this is a lot going on right now. But we got to talk about a couple of people. Joel Smith, let's talk about. Joel here. He's 25 years old.
Yeah.
Which I want you to take note of that and remember, this man is 25 years old, okay? Just so you know, because when I tell you things about him, you're going to go, so he's 16 years old? You go, no. He's 25 years old. Because everything else in the story would tell you he's not a day, 19 tops and not a day older, but 25. So at this point, in spring of 1978, he is an unemployed welder.
In the wintertime, you have your normal seasonal jobs go away in winter. And welding is a lot of outdoor shit. So I can see it being unemployed. But how far into spring are we?
I was going to say, I don't think we're waiting for a job to pop up in the summer. No. He's not like, oh boy, when it gets cranking up again, the crew's getting back together. He's just a guy who knows how to weld and doesn't have a job. That's what he is. It's a different classification. Just an unemployed guy who knows how to weld. Different thing. So his father's had the same job since he was a child here. His father is the deputy warden at the Maine State Prison at Thomaston. So, deputy warden back in the 70s here, where he had worked for 18 years. He got that job in 1960, so he's been there forever.
What's his boy's problem? Jesus.
Well, he didn't have he didn't germinate the seed. We'll say the two of them. He's adopted. Joel's an adopted kid, and adopted at age 27 months. So that's over 2 years old. That's
he's seen some things. He's had some experiences.
Yes, and that's his father says, quote, the boy's real parents abused him considerably.
Oh, my God.
So, we're happy somebody adopted him. That's good, because he was abused. His father said that for some time after they, adopted him, he said that the child would only talk in a whisper, was very afraid.
That's a frightened kid.
Was afraid, quote, most of the time of everything.
Oh, my.
And was just constantly, that's how the kid must have been terrorized, up to that point.
He's seen some shit.
Yeah, that's a bad start.
It's not good.
It's not great. Now, I don't know if that leads you to be a 25-year-old unemployed welder in the spring of 1978, but it doesn't help. I'll tell you that much.
No.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely. These people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked. God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. You know, the most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch-up here or a total makeover. Yeah. Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing. No. They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently. Wherever your problem areas are, tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
He basically sells weed and stuff like that to get by. Weed, a little bit of acid here and there. You know, he's a guy who knows how to weld and lives in a trailer with his girlfriend and, you know, has weed and hangs out with teenagers is the other problem. This is the thing.
In spring of 78, I don't know that mental health and the track that your body is put on when you deal with that kind of traumatic experience that you don't even remember. Yeah. You don't even realize what you're doing or why you're doing it. I'm sure that's not talked about very, very much in his house.
I don't think it is at all, probably. Back then it was probably like, well, you know, things are good now. Let's just make sure
you're not in that, so what the fuck?
Let's make sure he has Fruit Loops in the morning and he'll probably be happy. You know what I mean? That's all we can do for him.
Yeah.
You know,
give him that vitamin A and D and he'll be fine.
He'll be all right. You know, be nice to him. We'll give him a hug once in a while and not diddle him and stuff like that. And I'm sure he'll be back. Once they got him to like speak in a normal voice, they're probably like, hey, there we go.
See?
Flushed it right out of him.
Whole milk did it.
All fixed. Yeah. Told you not that 2%. You got to get the whole milk for the boy. I know you like the 2%, but the boy needs whole milk.
He needs to chew it.
So he's selling weed. He's doing stuff like that, just kind of getting by. He is at least 5 years older than anyone else in the story besides his father, by the way. He's at the minimum of 5 years older. That's what I mean. He's definitely stalled in his maturity because if you're 25, you just don't hang out with kids that aren't even 21. You know what I mean? Unless there's something wrong.
There's got to be a safety and innocence there that he's trying to hold on to. Yeah, there's got to be something psychological there.
Or I think he likes being the 25-year-old, kind of the older. He kind of tells people what to do. He can sell them weed, and he can, you know, he's
looked up to.
Exactly
in there
because we all know that guy.
Sure.
You remember the 25-year-old guy you bought weed from when you were 17? That's not a great guy. He was a loser. Remember him?
Yeah. It was a 24-year-old dude that was dating our 17-year-old friend.
Oh, you had one of those too?
Yeah.
You had one of those?
Yeah.
I
can't say his name. I don't want to.
I don't say his name. Yeah, I know my guy's name too. I can remember his name absolutely.
He's a kind of. And today, James, guess what he does?
What? What's that?
Same shit.
There you go. I remember.
I mean, not dating young girls, but he's a scumbag that sells weed. That's it.
We had a guy who's 23. He knew all of like my friends, hung out with a couple of them, and went out with a girl who was in the grade below me and was 15 at the time. Jesus. And her parents were fine with it. And I'm like, he's 20. Am I the only one who says he's 23? People's parents are fine with it. They were an open, fine couple. And I'm like, she's 15 fucking years old. And it was like, well, he had problems when he was younger and I don't care. That's his problem. She's a child.
Apartment because he got thrown out of his house.
No. He lived in his parents.
He had a studio apartment at this time, but he would stay at her house. He would spend the night at her house. Her parents would allow him
Same
to
thing.
sleep in her bed.
Same
he
thing.
had a place to live that he paid for
God.
because he had a fucking day job while we were all in school.
He'd buy booze for people, so that's why he was like kind of allowed to hang out in the group. It's like, well, he has a purpose anyway. I suppose.
30 pack is here because of him.
I mean, yeah. So I guess we're sacrificing our friend here for that. I guess that was the logic that people had. I don't know.
Sacrificing Lauren's fucking safety for this.
But we were kids. Like, it wasn't our fault. I think her parents probably should have intervened there. And
but
we figured if everyone's parents are okay with it, I don't know. I think it's not good, but I guess it's fine.
There was also an element of we felt like because she was our age, we could make the decision to date anybody we want, and this is just the decision she's made.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And now looking back on it, I'm like, oh no, this is terrible.
I should have said something.
I should. Well, we did. We used to make fun of her for it all the time.
We make fun of him.
And him, but we knew he wasn't going to stop because he's a loser. But we would make fun of her and be like, your boyfriend's the biggest loser in the world. You know how? Because he's your boyfriend. That's why.
Right. He can drink beer in a bar right now. We're sitting in a backyard because we can't.
We're in a basement. Do you understand that? Hiding. Meanwhile, he's with us for some reason.
We're sitting in a backyard surrounding a 50-gallon drum with a fire in it.
Oh, my God. Fuck, man. What a disgrace. So his girlfriend at the time, right now, Joel Smith's girlfriend, is Brenda Younk. Younk.
Oh.
Younk.
It's got to be Younk, right?
Younk, I would think so. Like Yount, like Robin. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's 20 years old. Obviously, she can't be his age, but that's fine. 20 and 25, that's okay. As long as they haven't been together since she was 13, I'm okay with it. As long as it started. And I know that it didn't start when she was a child because she is divorced and has a 2-year-old son. So someone got there. Yeah, that was... He wasn't robbing that cradle. Possibly someone else was at some other point.
Probably.
So that's fine. So there you go. She's a divorced 20-year-old lady with a 2-year-old son who goes out with Joel, who is an unemployed welder who sells weed out of his trailer. There we go.
Jesus.
It's really it's all going swimmingly for everyone here. This is
could have gone better, but this is where we are.
This is what dreams are made of here.
Yeah.
When Neil Diamond back in the 77 or 76 probably, bicentennial, when he was singing They're Coming to America, this is what they were dreaming about, Jimmy. Everywhere around the world, they're selling weed out of trailers. They were.
American dream.
This is the American dream. Her ex-husband, talk about this. She's from Michigan, and her ex-husband met her in Michigan, and they moved to Maine because he was stationed at the now shuttered Loring Air Force Base. Now they have festivals there where you do weird shit.
Flip your fucking Ski-Doo.
Yeah, that's crazy. He also... He says that he knows of her past. Brenda has been the victim of physical and sexual abuse also.
Yeah. And
she's also pretty good at art as well. She's a decent artist. So that's the couple we have here. They both have some damage in their past, and they're trying to get by it together, I suppose, here. Now, to introduce the next player here, his name is Gary Nadeau or Nadeau, Nadeau. Is that Nadeau?
Okay.
Nadeau?
Maybe Nadeau?
Nadeau, yeah. Yeah, Nadeau? Gary. Okay. Gare Bear. Gare. Gare is 16 years old. Okay. So he shouldn't even be in this story, honestly.
We shouldn't know him.
No. Unless he's somebody's little brother or something, we shouldn't know anything about him.
We shouldn't know anything about him.
Shouldn't know it at all. And when you add in the fact that this will make him even younger, he's not even like a mature 16, I don't think, because he's in the 8th grade. I remember being 13 in the 8th grade, so...
Yeah.
That is
you should be a sophomore.
You should be could be a junior.
Junior, maybe?
Yeah. I was a junior when I was 16, for Christ's sake. That's
16 to 17. Yeah.
Yeah. I turned 17 at the end of my junior year. I turned 17. So I'm not judging anybody, but I don't know if I don't know anything about this. I don't know if there's a delay, if he had a developmental problem or whatever, but he seems like.
But if you can drive to middle school, there's certainly a problem.
That is fucking weird. Yeah, that's strange. There's certainly an issue, but Gary seems to be like socially adjusted, has friends, does things, so there's nothing wrong with him or anything like that. He's just 16 and in the 8th grade. He's also like a stoner and shit like that. He might just be a slacker that's kind of playing out the string until he can drop out, which is what I know a lot of kids that did that who are, still in the 9th grade when they were 16 and just were, till they could legally drop out.
Fucking off till they can take a GED test and go home.
That's it. Yeah. So now he in the spring here, or I'm sorry, late summer, he's arrested Gary. The 16-year-old. Yeah. He's arrested and jailed on a charge of possessing weed.
Okay.
Talk about this. Now, the problem is somehow the whole thing gets brought back to Joel, who sold him the weed.
Huh.
This is a half ounce of weed, by the way. This isn't like 5. It is. It's a half ounce.
There's no bricks involved.
This isn't 5 pounds. There's no kilos. This is literally a sandwich bag with some brick weed. Some shit Mexican brick weed in the bag.
Right.
And, this isn't a huge transaction that we need to really.
It's probably 3 fingers. It's not even 4.
Yeah, it's a 25-year-old sells weed to a 16-year-old so he can fuck him on 5 or 6 grams on a half. That's why he does it.
It's a light half.
Yeah, a 25-year-old will call him on that. A 16-year-old's like, well, at least I got it.
At least I got it.
Yep. You've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, but at least I got it. So
that's incredibly light.
So when you're 16, don't buy weed from 20-year-olds. Or 25-year-olds. That's not good.
Why is this bag like this? Has it been on the treadmill?
Yeah. Why is it lost some weight? Lost some weight here. It's been slimming down.
Trying to get its summer bod on.
What is it, 78? The inflation's affecting bags of weed, too, I see. It's really, inflation's making my weed lighter. I don't know how that worked.
Is this its goal sandwich bag? What's happening?
Damn. You're going with the smaller sandwich bags now. Okay.
You remember those?
Oh, yeah, the halfies.
Those halvesies?
Yeah. They're just for kids' goldfish. That's all they're for.
Right. Yeah.
Cheerios, goldfish. Fuck out of here.
Or drug dealers.
Or, exactly. I mean, otherwise they have no other purpose except goldfish.
Right.
Goldfish and drugs.
Why'd you make these? There's no way these were built for toddler snacks. You did this because it's much easier for us.
No bread is that size, and it's a sandwich bag. So you're telling me right away you're eliminating your purpose. So, and yellow and blue make what? Green? Come on.
You bet.
See? Hey, man, there you go. Thanks, Ziploc, for making this possible for us.
When it's sealed tight, the weed and the seal are the same color.
Exactly. So this all gets brought back to Joel Smith, who is then arrested for selling Gary weed.
Oh, God damn it. Gary, shut the fuck up.
Seems like a lot of police work for a half ounce of weed, doesn't it? We're arresting one kid. We're tracing it back to another guy. Ooh, we're almost there, everybody.
We're arresting 2 people?
If we arrest another 65 people, we're going to get to the supplier. I'll tell you what. We're going up that chain pretty far.
65 people will be in Colombia in no time.
Next, we'll get to the guy who sells ounces and then on up from there. So that's what they're doing here. He is set to, they're going to go to trial for his selling weed, for Joel selling weed.
Stop it.
Trial, and they're making Gary testify against him. So
Jesus.
That's what I mean. This is really
serious.
This is some serious shit in 1978 in Maine. They're not
Maybe
fucking around.
I don't want to go to Maine.
Oh, that's legal there now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they have
right.
dispensaries there now. It's
Fuck
terrific.
it.
It's terrific. Yeah, we'll have a good time. Do you think the place I want to end up in is not going to have any weed in it? So
if they're taking me to jail because I did a podcast with a guy that had a joint, I'm going to have a problem with this place.
Yeah, we're probably not going to last long up there. Going to be raiding our comedy club constantly.
Yeah, they're arresting your dog because he sat in the room while you smoked it.
Little Oscar being taken away. His little paws.
Paw cuffs.
He won't say shit though. He's down. He's a down motherfucker. Yeah, he's gonna. He won't testify.
He won't even lick him. He'll be like, you are inconveniencing me and James.
Not doing
This is bullshit.
Not doing it.
Would dog cuffs be like a thumb trap, like a finger trap? Would they put them together like that?
Maybe. No, I just picture them at the wrist, just together, like those little paws coming out,
right by the dew cloth.
Yeah, and he's standing up, walking that way. You know how he likes to do that anyway. He likes to stand on his leg. Yeah, they're walking him holding his little paws as he walks.
I want to see him do a perp walk now.
Yeah, me too. He's the most innocent looking dog in the world. Now I got to see him doing the perp walk.
To be a hardened criminal.
Bulletproof vest on over him as they're taking him from the car to the court. Yeah. Like he did a school shooting. One of those. Oh, Jesus. So he's going to testify. Yes, I bought a half ounce of weed. I bought a half ounce of the devil's lettuce from this man. And it's really going to be bad for everyone here. So he's out of jail, Joel is, awaiting trial on this charge. So he and Brenda decide during this, hey, he's really the only way they know I had sold anybody weed is this guy testifying. So maybe we can get him to not testify. Maybe we can get him to go out of town for the, for the trial. Maybe we can say, hey, here's a grand, go on a vacation or,
go on a Cape or something.
Hey, disappear, kid, some shit like that. Just not to show up, whatever it is. Right. So he told his friend that he's going to try to get rid of him. Try to get rid of this. Joel said, I'm going to try to get rid of Gary here. So as we head into September 20th is the trial date. And that's when Gary's scheduled to testify against Joel. So on September 15th, 1978, they decide we got to put this into action to get him to not testify or else we're really fucked here. You know what I mean? Now,
he's really going to put us all away for 6 weeks.
All away for this fucking little Ziploc bag full of weed. A half ounce. So now you can buy that in half the states in America.
Yeah.
All the time on a daily basis.
High five a guy across a counter over it.
And pick out a few different kinds too, Make it 4 different eighths. Who cares? Mix it up a bit. Get some concentrates in there.
Yeah.
So let's mix in some new people into this whole mix. It's a great mix already. We have Brenda, we have Gary, we have Joel. Now let's get Glenn in the mix here. Glenn Tetrault, Tetrault, Tetrault.
Wow.
Tetro or
Tetrault, right?
Or Tetrault, either one.
It might be Tetrault.
Tetrault, depending on how redneck they are.
How cultured?
We're not sure. The T's are going to be more pronounced if the more redneck they are.
Yeah.
So 18 he is, Glenn. Obviously, he's not 25 like Joel because why would Joel hang out with anyone his own age? His buddy also is Paul Ankerson, and he is 18 years old. And the only guy without an in his name in the entire fucking story.
This is a little easy.
Yeah. So Ankerson's also 18 years old. Glenn and Paul are kind of buddies. They're always hanging out. And they know Joel. They hang out with Joel. They hang out with Brenda. They all know Gary.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Paul's 18 too?
Yeah, Paul's 18 also.
All right.
Again, 2 more people who don't see it weird that they're hanging out with an 8th grader. And they're adults. They don't see that as a strange thing to do.
Or that they're hanging out with a 25-year-old who, well, I guess him being married to a 20-year-old puts them.
They're
that
just
makes this okay.
Boyfriend, girlfriend at the time. Yeah, but still.
Okay. But they're together, and they may just know her, and now they know
she
him.
bridges the gap between them. Yeah, that's possible. Sure, That's between a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old is going to be a 20-year-old. So, she's bridging the gap. And by the way, this whole day is based around a party.
Yeah.
Now, you're thinking a party. It's a 25-year-old. It's a party, and there's going to be beer, and, it's going to be a party with a bunch of adults.
Some music, yeah.
Actually, it's based around the birthday party of a 15-year-old. A 15th birthday party because...
So yesterday they were 14.
Yeah, yesterday they were 14, in other words. And that's who Gary hangs out with because, Gary's 16 and in the 8th grade. So these are his friends. These are people he knows, people turning 15. His name is Carl Bishop, the 15-year-old, that the birthday party's going on. Now, Joel Smith thinks, okay, I'd like to, what I'll do is I'd like to get him, Gary, out kind of in the middle of nowhere where I can, he'll be a little bit scared of me, because he's 16 and I'm 25 and, he thinks I'm a big dangerous drug dealer. So I'd like to kind of scare him, tell him how it's like dangerous and, all this type of shit, discourage him from testifying. Then I'll pay him. Then I'll give him some money. So when he's scared and he's ready to not testify anyway, then I'm going to be like, tell you what, here's $1,000. Why don't get the fuck out of here? $1,200 he says he was thinking about giving him and saying, why don't you take a hike for a while? That way I can get off on this charge. So that's the initial plan, allegedly. So Joel says that that Gary knows not to meet up with him, though. He's not going to come if he calls him out. So, hey, why don't you're testifying, against me in about 5 days. Why don't you meet me in a really desolate spot in the middle of the woods?
Yeah.
He's probably not that stupid, I mean,
your words can change the way my life runs for the next little bit. And, why don't just you and me go talk?
I think he's in the 8th grade, not the 5th grade. He's probably going to know better than that. So,
yeah, he shouldn't even be in that grade. He should be much beyond that.
Exactly. So the plan is, okay, Glenn Tetrault and Paul Akerson, they are going to. Gary trusts them, so you guys get him from this party and then take him out to where I am, and then I'll talk to him. So, help me out with this, all right? Yeah. Oh, boy, that's the plan. Now, Langley Road is the decided upon spot here, I guess, where they're going to meet, off of this road out in the woods. So Akerson is supposed to go to the roller rink. Yeah. 25, he's saying, you go to the roller rink. Fuck, man. Tetrault was to get ready for the birthday party for Carl Bishop at Joel Smith's apartment. A 25-year-old is hosting a 15-year-old's birthday party in his apartment.
Oh, my.
Not because it's his girlfriend's little brother or something like that. And because they're all pals.
Because we know each other.
They have similar interests. That's why. Fuck, man. I don't like any of this at all. No. None of it. And I don't blame the kids because when I was 15, I hung out. There was a few 25-year-olds I knew, and I know they're losers now. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. One of them's name was Satanic Bill, for Christ's sake. And he went to prison multiple times and was a bad guy. And then another guy is still a loser. It's not, if you're hanging out with young people who aren't closely related to you, you're a fucking loser. There's just something about that. And you're not mentoring them because they, there are exceptions.
You're not paid to be around them. Then get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it's weird. So, anyway, that's the whole thing is that he's having a birthday party there, and it is prearranged that after Glenn Tetrault and Paul Akerson pick up Gary, they're to come to Joel Smith's apartment to get a couple of joints. That way, Gary, you'll feel real comfortable. Hey, we're puffing some weed. No one who's going to do bad things to you gives you some joints to smoke first. That's just not even logical.
Especially not the guy that just sold you some and you got arrested.
Yeah, and you're all going to be in court next week.
Right.
So
the same shit
about this. So they were to ride around with Gary for about an hour and give him some beer while they're driving around. So come to my house, pick up a couple of joints, then go drive him around, smoke a couple joints, give him a couple of beers while you're up in the mountains, get him real cozy and comfortable and feeling good. And then take him to the spot on Langley Road, okay? And that's what they did. So Joel, he hid out in the woods near where the car pulls up. So they had it to that kind of a level of like, I'll be over here in a bush and then you drive up and park here type of shit.
This is all to pay a man? This is weird.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I said allegedly to pay a man. To quote.
That's a fascinating pretenses to pay a man like that.
Yeah. If you're going to pay someone, you don't have to hide. You can just be there, and when he pulls up and be like, oh, shit, be like, no, it's cool, and have money in your hand.
Yeah, this is not how I pay my credit card bill.
No, I hide in the bushes, wait for the. That'd be amazing.
The bank operator, the bank teller to be brought out there blindfolded.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a guy that if it snows, he'll plow my driveway. This is how I pay him. I jump off the roof onto his back and shove the money in his front pocket. That's how I do it. It's
Smoke
real
this,
weird.
drink this. Now come out in the woods.
Come out in the woods with me. Here's some money. All right, now get lost.
Get out of here.
It's pretty cool. I think that's why I've gone through 8 snowplow guys, but I'm finding one. I'm going to find one, the right one of these days.
One that this is his kink is going to stick around.
He's going to stick around, and we're going to be tight forever.
Fast friend.
He's going to move to Maine with us.
He's going to plow the parking lot.
Yep, that's our comedy club parking lot. That's his job. Give him like 5% of the take. So they're supposed to drive around and do all of that shit. And he's hidden in a wooded area where Gary's going to be let out of the car. This is the pretense, by the way, why they drove up here. Because Gary's like, well, why are we driving to the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
And their answer is, you have to get out right here because there's a 6-pack of beer hidden under a tree.
How important is beer to these people?
A 6-pack under a tree? What, like a leprechaun? Like a scavenger hunt they sent him on?
Is there a rainbow leading to the tree?
Yeah. How do I find it? Which tree is it?
Do I chase a rabbit?
So he gets out of the car saying, what tree am I looking for the 6-pack under? And Joel runs up to Gary and immediately says, why'd you give a written statement against me?
What's
up with that?
Yeah.
What's up, dude? That's fucked up, man. Not cool, right? So Gary said at the time, he goes, I didn't know what I was signing. They just told me, they got me in there. They yelled at me. I'm in the 8th grade.
I'm 16 in an 8th grade. Why do you think I did it?
I don't know. Yeah, he said they put it in front of me. And I signed it, and and every 16-year-old kid is dumb, and every kid in the 8th grade is dumb, no matter what their age. They're all dumb. Children are dumb. I was dumb. Jimmie was dumb. We were all dumb. We have no life experience.
Cops told me this would be better for me. That's why.
That's why. And they said,
sorry, it's not better for me either.
Sign this, and we won't charge you with that. And so I went, okay, and I signed it. At this point, here comes Brenda. Okay, Brenda Younk, Joel's girlfriend, she pulls up in a car. Now, boom, she pulls up, and he says that Joel at that point slaps Gary.
Yeah.
To, quote, prove I meant business.
Yeah.
That'll learn him. So I think by this whole setup, he knows you mean business.
Yeah.
If I'm tricked into meeting someone in a remote location and they pop out of a bush and there's a bunch of people around me, I get it that this is probably not in my favor. This is nefarious.
I don't see a 6-pack of beer anywhere, so I'm clearly a problem.
This is what Joe Pesci's end in Casino was. Exactly this.
So he just goes, oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, in Casino, not in Goodfellas. Goodfellas, too.
It was Goodfellas, yeah. Oh,
in Casino, they take him out in the cornfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's different. In Goodfellas, they take him. He thinks he's getting made. He's all happy.
Yeah.
This kid's the same way. He thinks he's getting a 6-pack. He gets out. Oh, no. Poof. He's down. They even shot him in the face so his mother couldn't give him an open casket at the funeral. So to prove he means business. So Gary is put into the car now, put into Joel's car, or Brenda's. It's the car Brenda pulled up in. So whatever, their car.
Are there babies in the back seat? Or are those someone
No. They let the 2-year-old stay. I don't know, with someone, I'm sure. Who knows where the 2-year-old's living in a tree? I don't know. They have it wrapped up in a beaver pelt. I have no idea.
It's guarding the 6-pack.
It's guarding, yeah. They sit it on top of the 6-pack just so that no bears or anything get at it. You know what I mean? Protect the 6-pack, honey. So they stuff him into the car and they drive to a road near farther out there. It's even farther out. Mm-hmm. So Joel asks Gary, how much do you want to leave the state?
Okay.
What do you want? And Gary said, where am I? I'm 16. Where am I supposed to go? I can't even do anything. Like, I can't buy things.
Did he mean how much money or how bad do you want to leave? How much do you want to leave? So much.
So much right now. Are we talking about now? Like, just drive me to the border. I'll climb across. So he said that Gary said, nothing will get me to stop from testifying because then I'll be in trouble. So I have to testify and I have nowhere to go. What am I going to go to Mexico and hide out for the rest of my life so I don't hang out, so I don't testify at your weed trial? That's ridiculous.
It's over a half an ounce, dude. This isn't anything. This
is so stupid. Yeah, the whole thing is stupid. So at that point, Joel decides that he said later on, quote, I decided that he had to be done away with. This is over a half ounce of weed.
This is unbelievable.
This is over a half ounce of weed, man.
It's not even over the weed. It's over the penalty for getting caught with it.
Which is so
stupid.
He
talked, but he's 16. This is your mistake.
When you sell weed to children, you have to understand that if their mother finds it in their pocket, you could be going, that's why one of the many litany fucking book thick thing of why you don't sell any kind of drugs to teenagers. Weed, mild, I don't care what it is.
Anything. Yeah.
If you're an adult, don't sell shit to kids because this is the problem. Not only morally and everything else,
but
dealer
of them. Right.
Yeah, you sell it to a slightly older child than them who sells it to someone slightly younger than them till it eventually gets down to the age of where you're going. And then that kid is paying twice as more than he should.
Right.
That's how the drug business works.
And that's how you keep them from doing it because it's fucking
so
not financially feasible for them.
If they're jumping right to a 25-year-old, we can't have anything in this world. It's disorder. Children
anarchy.
Should buy drugs from children, damn it. And I won't stand for anything less. I will fight and fight until this country realizes that that's the only... Wow.
That's how it worked in the 90s. Why in Maine in the 70s was it fucking backwards?
I don't know. Maybe there was less weed around. There's probably only two people who had weed in this town. I'm not sure. Yeah. So he's decided he's going to be going to have to be done away with him. So
oh my God.
He turns his back to Gary and tells him that if you won't take my money, basically, you're not going to take my money, you're never going to see Caribou or your mom again. Meaning the town of Caribou, not a caribou. So,
right. There's one right there.
Yeah, it's like, oh, really? I see one. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right. Let's go elevate your styles, people. Yeah. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, well, still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah. They're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals in things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it, and get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
So he said, you're never going to see your mom.
Yeah.
Again, if you can threaten someone to not testify by something about they're not going to see their mom, it's a child. Think about what you're saying. You're a terrible person. Go get your stupid penalty and go to county jail for 6 months for selling this kid weed, and then be more fucking careful next time. You're bad.
You're talking about, I don't know what the penalty for drugs in Maine is, but I cannot imagine it's fucking 5 to 10 on this. This is ridiculous.
It's fucking 4th down. You got to punt. Sorry. I mean, that's on you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have ran it for the first and second down, maybe. If you knew your offensive line was weak. What's wrong with you?
You knew your quarterback's got a limp arm. He's not going to get it on third.
He's got no strength behind it. So Joel then said that he, quote, took Gary, and this is Joel's words, quote, hit him with all my power on top of his head.
On top of his head.
On top of his head. Took Gary and hit him with all my power on top of his head. I took him by his hair and forced him off the road into the woods.
Okay.
He then continued to bludgeon him with his fists here, breaking his jaw, breaking his nose. This is holding him by the hair. He's doing all this. Wow. Just punching him and then kicking him in the face when he gets tired of punching him while holding his hair, which you can't really get a great kick in while you're holding someone's hair. You can't really get any,
enough
difficult
to make the area sting or numb.
It's not good, but I mean, it's not it's not as good as if you were going to go back and do a field goal kick, obviously, or something like that. But still, he's holding him so he can't get away, and then continued to kick Gary until he was unconscious, and then continued to kick Gary after he fell into unconsciousness as well. So pummeling this child at this point. Then Joel goes back to the car and gets a shovel. That's a bad sign.
If you're unconscious, man.
Yeah, if you're also being dragged out here and then you've been beaten, and as you come to, you see the guy who beat you, who now has a shovel, and you're in the woods.
Right. Why'd you bring a shovel, man?
Isn't
you were
good.
Supposed to be paying me.
So he digs a hole. Joel begins to dig a hole. While he's digging the hole, Gary comes to and sees what's going on, and he's not dumb. He puts 2 and 2 together, and he starts to get up. Like, I better get the fuck out of here. I'm about to go in a hole. So then Joel comes over, and he just rose to his feet, Gary. So Joel comes over with the shovel and smashes him in the left knee with the shovel, knocking him back down to the ground. Then takes the shovel and wails him on top of the head with it.
Oh, God.
Like a comedy movie would be, except instead it's horrific because it's a child and it's real.
He's beating a child, right?
He's beating a child. At that point, Joel just kind of Gary falls, and he's unconscious and out, and they don't know if he's alive or dead or what, because he just got beat with a shovel. But Joel takes Gary and puts him in the hole that he had dug while Gary was unconscious. Then he covers him up with some dirt. Okay, thinks he's good there. But he's not sure. He doesn't cover him up thick. It's not like 2 feet of dirt. It's a very thin layer of soil on top of him.
Or something. Yeah.
Not even that. Just enough to where you kind of can't see him, sort of. It's not a
Some
lot.
Wrinkles of his jacket are coming through.
Yeah, so he said, well, he stopped for a reason. That's not the full burial here. So he said he stopped, and he went, well, I don't think he's dead yet, possibly. And, he could just be unconscious. He goes, I got something for this, though. Joel walks over to the car, his and Brenda's car, and pulls out a 3-foot-long sword.
3 foot.
A 36-inch blade, a 3-foot-long fucking blade, and then with a big handle on it, too. It's a Japanese, ceremonial samurai, whatever the shit sword.
What the fuck, man?
The type of sword that a douchebag who's 25 years old that sells weed to kids has in his fucking trailer. It's that sword. He's that guy.
The sword that Bruce Willis saved Ving Rhames' life with.
He just wishes someday to be that guy from Boogie Nights that throws firecrackers in his living room. Someday he's going to get to that status, and he'll have guns instead of this sword, but he's still going to keep the sword for memory's sake.
Yeah, because it hangs on the wall nicely.
It's sentimental, Looks cool on the wall, too. Plus, it's the 70s, and everybody's into, like, kung fu shit and Bruce Lee and karate.
Yeah.
So these swords are popular. At least he didn't use nunchucks. That would have been a dumber way to do it.
Pounding the shit out of the dirt.
Yeah, just pap, pap, pap. I can't get him. So he takes this giant, insane sword. This crazy shit asshole walking through the woods with a samurai sword is just so out of place, number one. He sees Gary in the hole. Gary isn't moving. He's still unconscious. Takes the sword and, as he puts it, runs him through several times.
Just plunged it into the dirt?
Just
oh, my God.
Stabs him through the fucking soil. Just starts stabbing him several times as far into him as he could get it, which is through.
Never heard of this before.
How crazy is this shit?
What the fuck, man? It's the penalty for a half ounce of weed, and this is your plan?
This is the plan. This is all. Just think about a half ounce of weed. Even if you don't smoke weed, you're not into weed. I'm not saying you have to be, but I know what a 12-pack of beer looks like. And I'm not a big drinker, but a half ounce of weed is not a lot of weed if you don't know. It's really not. It's like in Massachusetts, you can legally buy an ounce of weed a day. An ounce, which is twice as much as that. You know what I mean?
It's a whole baggie.
Yeah, it's a whole
bag full.
This is not a ton of weed, and you'd buy a half if you had like a bunch of your friends were going to go camping or something. You'd buy a half for like, a few people for a night. It's not like, if you smoke
every day and you're trying to make it last for 2 weeks and you're on a budget.
Yeah, you did a value. Right. You did a value deal. But I mean, when you're 16, you can never buy in bulk. You can only buy a little bit at a time. If everyone pitched in and you're having a party, you'd get a half, because that way, hey, we'll all have a joint to ourselves. Isn't that going to be cool? Or we'll roll blunts to the head,
We'll roll one of those big ones that's crazy and pass it around.
Or stuff it. Yeah, you can stuff a Philly. That was fun back then. Oh, I used to love doing that.
The big one's that's a big flex.
You stuff a Philly Titan, you're
17, that is a flex.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun to stuff a Titan. I got to do that now. That'd be fun. Except weed's more expensive now.
Get a Garcia Vega and pack it fucking full.
Oh, man. The Philly Titans were great because they're huge. They're like big, giant old man cigars. You pack one of those things up. It lasts a good hour and a half, 2 hours.
I'm convinced that cigar was made just for because that is the grossest thing on the planet.
And they were just made for cheap cigar smokers back in the day. But lucky for them, it fishtailed right into the... When
sure did.
Smoking cheap cigars was going out of fashion, rolling cheap cigars with weed was coming into fashion. So it saved their business. Them, White Owl, Dutch Master, all those fucking Garcia Vega. Garcia Vegas were a little better quality.
I loved them.
Yeah. They were like you were fancy if you had the Garcia Vegas. They had like veins in them and shit.
And they were green too. So
there's a different
and the Optimos too. The green Optimos.
Phillies are good though because Phillies you could do anything. Like you could. They were tough. You could roll a shit out of a Philly.
Yeah.
It was a good street roll. And if you were just like walking around, you could roll that shit quick.
And you didn't have to roll it full either. It's got so much paper there. You could just put enough in there to get it closed and then throw that wrap around a couple times. That thing burns for fucking ever.
It's good for multiple people. It helps. What we're saying is a half ounce isn't a lot of weed and not enough to run a child through with a sword over while they're covered in dirt and unconscious in a man-made grave, in a newly shallow dug grave. This is wild. So after that, the sword, by the way, 36-inch blade, pearl handle, and it is the sword that he keeps in his apartment all the time.
What a dick.
Everybody sees it there all the time. Then Joel and Brenda return to their apartment for the party. The party's going on now.
Party time after a murder.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's his 15th birthday. We got to have a party, obviously.
Yesterday, this would have been real weird.
Today, normal.
Not as weird.
And also, to be at a party is a good alibi. I don't know. They were at the party that night. Seemed fine. That's a good alibi, according to these idiots, anyway. So, Jesus Christ, they return home. They both have mud and blood on their clothes. According to everyone that saw them, they look like they're a mess. They're not in their party gear. One friend overheard Joel say over the course of the party, quote, I got him good.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Then he said, quote, he'll never speak or talk again.
Oh, boy.
Never saying I killed him, but I got him good, because people are asking, what's up with that? Is he going to testify against you? Not now. How come? I got him. Got him good. He'll never speak or talk again, as a matter of fact.
Great party.
Whoa. Another party goer, by the way, children, these are all children. Another party goer heard Joel say that he killed and disposed of Gary and had beaten him to death before burying him. So he's telling multiple people at the party about his murder of a witness, by the way, in a case against him, which makes it even more legally.
Oh, God, that's fucking death penalty shit.
Not only a child, but a witness against you in a case. Not only is he telling many people, he's telling them so loud that other people are overhearing him.
People that have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, they're like, whoa. A third friend at the party heard Joel, what the friend called boasting, that he'd taken care of Gary by beating him, burying him, and stabbing him with that sword I keep up on the wall there. You know, that one that's usually up there that isn't now? That one. So, wow. He said that other people had heard him say to them before this took place that he was going to, quote, get rid of Gary, and he was going to knock him, quote, unquote. I guess that's like whack him, Maine style.
It's Maine whacking?
Maine whacking. That's what the mob does up there. We're going to knock him. Going to knock him for going to court to testify against him. Carl Bishop, the birthday boy here.
Right.
This poor bastard. Not only is his 15th birthday party at a 25-year-old dirtbag's house, but it's the whole thing is just a cover ploy to kill another child who his friends
None of this is about me. It's my day.
No, it's not your special day. It's just not, Carl. Sorry.
You're taking it from me.
He said later that he overheard Joel exclaim at the birthday party. Not even say. He heard him exclaim.
He yelled it.
Heard him, he toward the latter part of the evening that I got him good. He'll never speak again. So that's the line he keeps telling. He must be repeating that everywhere. Another guy here, Tim Walker, who's from around here, was at the party. He said that Joel had, quote, explained to me that he had taken Gary out to a wooded area, beat him to death, and buried him. Mm-hmm. It gets more specific as he goes, too, from he's taken care of, don't you worry about it, to I got him, he'll never talk again, to I killed him, to I took him out to this exact road on this address on a moonless night, and I stabbed him this many times and buried him at this exact, this latitude, longitude. Crazy. Daniel St. James, his name will come up again, so remember that one, everybody. Daniel St. James, he said that Joel told him Gary was going to testify against him, and this was before the party, that Joel had to figure out a way to stop him. Now, on the porch at the birthday party for Carl Bishop that night, Daniel St. James said Joel told him that he had, quote, taken care of Gary, and, quote, if anyone tells about it, I'll do the same thing to them.
Hey,
Stop
putting this on all of us.
How about stop telling everyone about it? There's a good idea.
Stop doing bad things with children involved.
Yeah, you already involved 3 other people in your plot. 2 people to drop them off and your girlfriend. So already you have fucked this royally up.
Right.
Royally. These people they're not in the Gambino family, those 2 idiots who dropped them off. They're not going to keep this to themselves or, come on, man.
This is crazy.
The first time your girlfriend's mad at you, what do you think she's going to do? I know he killed a guy. I mean, it's come on, man. Jesus Christ. So he told another person too the same thing, that exact statement to someone else. So many people at this party. Just the people who end up coming forward, at least 6 people heard him say this, and he was talking to other people, so who knows. The next day, Joel and I think it was Paul, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's Paul Akerson. They are sanding his sword with sandpaper in order to remove blood stains from the blade.
How fucking fast did this shit...
Tried hard,
Water
right?
Should do it, right?
I don't. I guess it's in there pretty good. I don't know if he had scratches that got like, I don't know what it is, so they have to scratch them out. But this sword sounds like a piece of shit. I'm going to be real here.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound.
Sand it?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you could, throw an apple up in the air and split it in half. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I could Benihana shit with this sword.
No.
Nothing, right? He Benihana this kid, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So, wow. They talk about that, how there was other people saw this, not just his accomplices here, and also that Joel was telling whoever would listen that he expressed concern about the stains on his clothes and what to do with them. Burn your clothes, moron. There you go.
The sandpaper's not getting these stains out of my jeans.
Problem solved. Yeah, my Levi's won't come out. So that day as well, Joel got the shovel and his sword, and he washed them down, sanded everything he had to remove the bloodstains, and put them out on the porch. Let me put the
sun on them.
Let me put this very distinctive murder weapon out on the porch, just in case anything comes up. It'll be right there for everyone to see.
It's a solar sword. I got to recharge.
It's charging. Yeah, that and the shovel digs its own holes. So he then tells Paul Akerson that he's going to give Paul money for what he did for him, dropping Gary off. He then gave the sword and the shovel to the other guy, to Glenn Tetrault here, and said, "Get rid of these. You ditch these." He never ditched them, obviously.
No. Because that looks suspicious as fuck.
Yeah, and nobody's good at this here. Nobody's good at this. And I don't think he realizes he's an accomplice to murder either at this point. And it's in his best interest to either turn everybody in or make sure everybody gets away with this, one or the other, because he is involved in this. He set the guy up.
Yeah, but why is there a shovel and a sword in the Wendy's trash can?
Yeah, that's another problem you're going to have, probably.
In the restaurant.
But, Maine, you can go to a bay and just toss it, Figure it out, man.
These idiots will take it and throw it in the Harkins Theater trash can inside the theater.
Just start carrying it around. I always thought the sword was cool. In the theater, the little one. For, paper scraps and shit. So, a few days later, 4 or 5 days later, Gary's mother, Ruth contacts the Caribou Police Department to report her son missing. I don't know why. It took a few days.
Yeah.
I don't know if this could be like a normal thing for him. Yeah. He disappears for a few days at a time or whatever it is.
16 and 8th grade, probably a little unpredictable with this.
Definitely,
schedule.
Yeah. So they end up launching an investigation into where he is.
Oh, God.
Okay, so that's, October 18th, 19th. And then obviously he's not there to testify at court, right. So they're interested in where he is as well. So there's a lot of people looking for old Gare Bear here, trying to find out where he's at.
And the prosecution side-eyeing somebody right now. Sir, where is he?
What's going on here? Now, October 7th, 1978, so a couple weeks later, Joel, shocker, is in the county jail. Yeah. Not for this at all.
No?
Not for weed either.
Other shit.
Other shit, yeah. It's not surprising that he's going to end up in the county jail at some point here. He is detained on a charge of this arch criminal operating a motor vehicle without a license. Just driving with no license.
Not even DUI. Sober.
Not even, just sober. Which most of the time, if you watch live PD, they don't even arrest people for that 95% of the time. They're just get your shit fixed up. I don't know. This is
95% of the time the people they pull over don't have a license. I can't believe
no
how
one
few
ever
people
has
a license in this country.
It's insane how few people have licenses. It's crazy.
It's almost everybody.
No one has a license, or they either never got one or it's suspended and been suspended. And
haven't taken care of that thing from that ticket I had when I was 17.
You're
wild,
48, dude.
Sir.
Yeah, you have gray hair and no driver's license is what you have. This is crazy.
Yeah, I got a ticket in 72. I'm sorry.
Jesus, man. Got a ticket in my GTO in high school, and now my Hyundai, I can't drive it. That's the problem.
Haven't talked to you guys since then, so I figured it'd be cool.
You're buying cars without even test driving them then. You have to give a copy of your license and all that shit, so.
Right. I guess you're buying them private for the rest of your life?
I suppose so. Just fooling people. So he's at the jail, Joel. No license there. Mm-hmm. His father comes and visits him, the deputy warden.
Oh, boy.
Not of the jail, of a prison, but he comes to visit him in jail and talks to him for a little while. And after a little bit of speaking to his dad, Joel asks to speak with Deputy Sheriff Cleary. Says, can I talk to that guy? All right. Now, he said, Joel's father said that when he arrived following the arrest, he did what he could to get his son to tell the truth in regards to whatever criminal activities he was involved in. He said,
okay,
including
everything, and let's pay the time and get this over with.
Including if you had anything to do with the disappearance of that kid who was supposed to testify against you, you should probably say something about it.
Just a few minutes. Yeah.
Up to and including that. He said you should probably talk and say whatever's going on here.
Come to my prison, and I'll see you every day.
And because of his dad, we'll hang out all the time, son. Finally, we'll be together then. Start singing Cat Stevens at him.
Cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
The cat's in the prison with getting shanked by a spoon.
Down spoon.
Getting cut with a spoon. Making prison wine in his toilet like Boone's. What the fuck?
Boy.
All right. So he says fine. And Joel says he would like to speak to Cleary. Cleary gives him Miranda warnings. And then Joel starts to describe to both Cleary and his father the events leading up to what happened.
Oh, boy.
Now, describes where they took him, and we'll talk about the site where they found him. But when they do, the wounds here are terrible. It's awful. So he's describing it. The sword sliced into Gary's chest, and from all the way from his lungs to his kidneys.
Wow.
Inside and sliced through it.
He drug it through.
Yeah, he's seen samurai movies and thought that's the way you do things.
Through the soil. He stirred the cauldron.
It's disgusting. Not only that, they said his cause of death is lacerations of the scalp, fractures of the skull, subdural hemorrhage, stab wounds of the chest, contusions of the trunk and extremities. In other words, just completely savaged to death here. Yeah. He said one of the stab wounds found on the body had penetrated the right lung and left lobe of the liver, and it was said it was approximately 10 inches deep.
Jesus.
Fuck, that's
you gotta.
That's why I said he ran him through. That's probably what he was talking about. Autopsy also reveals fractured nose, 2 fractured ribs, fractured skull, numerous lacerations and contusions. He beat the shit out of this kid. He beat him senseless and then did this to him. It's horrible. And fractured his skull with a shovel.
You're going to jail anyway, you dummy.
It's horrible, man. So he tells the story exactly like I just told it to you. Yeah. That's what he says. He goes, I went there, I told him, I hid in the trees, came out, kicked him, punched him, beat him with the shovel, threw him in, ran him through with the sword. Okay? That's what happened. So, in his next story, because that's not the end of it, later on that night, he goes, I'd like to clarify some things here. He then says Brenda was involved a lot, too, in everything, which is stupid.
You didn't like snitches, you asshole.
Not only that, either way, he's going to jail for murder, period. Yeah. So whether she had any participation in it or not, or if she didn't and he's just trying to get some company,
right?
This is a terrible thing to do here. If she did, I don't know if he's trying to have a decent maybe his dad helped him clear his conscience. I don't know, but
or possibly the judge or the people are like, is anybody else involved? Give us that, and we'll take some shit off the table.
We might be able to help you out a little bit, because that's what they'll say a lot. We maybe we can help you out. I can't all the time. I can't promise you anything, but I will say I see a million interrogations. I will tell you that the judges, the juries, the prosecutors, they tend to look at things a little bit different if you come out and say what you did.
Everything. Yeah,
which is absolutely not true at all. Get it in writing.
Yeah, they will still run a needle right in your arm.
Oh, yeah, they'll run you through. Don't worry. So he said that now Joel tells him that Brenda had kicked Gary in the groin, kicked him in the balls, and then grabbed him by the hair and took him into the woods and, quote, thumped him severely, is what the cop said that he told him. So now, somehow, Brenda has turned into Joe Pesci in Casino, just grabbing people by the hair and, beating them senseless and kicking them in the, you motherfucker, you motherfucker, you, Charlie fucking M, You had me pop out your fucking eyeball for that piece of shit, Charlie fucking M. And he's squeezing him in a vice. Is that what's going on here? Did Brenda turn into Joe Pesci out of nowhere and I didn't fucking know about it? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no. But hey, we'll listen to it anyway. Not only that, said that Brenda emerged from the woods and Joel said, "What are you doing to him?" So she just dragged him in there, and he was like, "Whoa, I don't want to get in the middle of that." She's really...
Calm down. Jesus.
Oof, hey, when she gets like this, man, you just stay back. That's all it is.
This is why she got a divorce. He didn't stay back.
You know what her reply was, according to Joel?
What is that?
"This little bitch won't die." Screams it from the woods. "This little bitch won't die."
Okay.
And then... he said that he tells the cops that Joel told him told the cops there was blood all over Brenda's hands.
Yeah.
I mean, he was mad and it was going to be him going to jail, but boy, she just stepped in there and started, getting ass whooping with the quickness.
On this kid.
He said that, Brenda had been high on marijuana and drinking all day as well. So, I mean, you can't put it all on her. She gets a little loose when that happens.
That's usually a real... It's a real agitator, those two together.
Well, it makes you go from a mild-mannered 20-year-old mother of a 2-year-old to just somebody who will fucking physically pummel a man and drag him into the woods by his hair. It's very different.
Ravingly, psychically murder a 16-year-old kid.
Wow. He said she became a different person, a very violent person, and decided herself that Gary had to die. Well, she just is all on her. She said
nothing.
He said he didn't want to, but she said that it had to be done, quote, to save us. To say, "You'll have to go to the county jail for fucking 45 days probably. I have to save us."
What are we going to do about trailer rent?
No, my God, the trailer. They're going to repossess it. And they can, too. They can just take it away. Yeah, So he said then, Joel tells the cops this time on his second story that after this, he returned to the car stunned. He just walked away. Oh, my God, I can't believe what's happening. He said that Brenda then came back to the car. This is so ridiculous. Came back to the car while he was sitting there, obviously in complete disbelief of what was going on around him, just almost catatonic. And she just popped up next to him and said, "Dig a hole."
I'll dig a hole. I think it's the first time I dug a hole.
First time I dug a fucking hole? I don't dig the fucking hole. I don't care.
You dig the hole. She is a gangster, man.
First fucking hole I ever dug. That's what I mean. She's not. He makes her out to be Joe Pesci, and it's definitely not. When she saw Gary, at that point he was semi-conscious, lying on his back, and Joel says that's when he kicked him in the kidney and twice in the head. When he walked up and saw him lying, because, he went to dig the hole, and he didn't want Brenda to think he was, not going to participate.
I got to show her that I'm a man.
I was scared of her, So after he finishes his account here, he then gets in the car and takes them out to the burial place, actually, with the father. The father comes too. So Dad and the sheriff are going to go out to the burial place here. They return him to the jail about 10:30 p.m., and now there's a state police officer there. Thankfully, let's get the Caribou Police Department not involved in this homicide as quickly as possible. I can't imagine they do a lot of this. They were real excited going to trial over a half ounce of weed, so I'm very worried about what the legal system's like up there for petty things. So for murder, let's get the state police involved. Maybe they have more experience, is what I'm saying. Sure. So they bring in a Detective Porter. Porter brings dinner in for Joel. He's trying to, make some rapport with him here. He'd like the truth. So maybe food goes a long way. So he brings some dinner in and then says, "Would you like to talk?" And he says, "Sure." So Joel invites him in. They're sitting there. They're eating. They're talking. They talk until about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, boy.
Then while they're talking, or after they talk for a while, a couple hours, and then they get into the what happened. This is just talking about bullshit and about life, before that, making small talk. Then Joel retells his account of the killing of Gary to write down. Now it's going to be written down, and it's going to be a signed confession. Before he just told it. Now he's going to write it down and sign it and do all that. So in the signed confession, he states that after Joel and Brenda picked up Gary at the drop-off point, stuffed him into the car, that he unsuccessfully attempted to bribe him to leave Maine, and that's when he decided to kill. So now he's off of Brenda again. He's saying he did it. He decided to kill Gary, drag Gary out of the car, hit him a bunch of times in the head, then use his fists and a shovel to administer more of a beating, dug the shallow grave, and that he and not Brenda, because originally the end of his other story was Brenda ran him through with my samurai sword.
Yeah, right.
Now he says it was him and not Brenda who stabbed him.
Okay.
And they said, well, why'd you choose there? Wait till I tell you where it is. It's at
sentimental shit.
It's in a remote area called, quote, Township 14, Range 5. That's the name of the place where they found him. That's why we're doing it out of Caribou, where everyone's from, not Township 14, Range 5, Maine, which would have been a weird title.
That's literally the coordinates in a map book.
Yep, that is exactly where, just the Township 14 of the Range 5 over there in that area. There's however many townships there. So stupid. So they said, well, why'd you bury him there? And he said, well, I knew what was going on because I'm familiar with the wood cutting operations in that area, knowing people that have worked on it, and I knew that there wouldn't be any cutting in that area for 3 years.
Yeah, 14.5 is that's parceled for way down the road.
They're gonna 14.5 isn't getting cut for 3 years at least.
We're on 8.3 right now.
Yeah,
we got a long way to go.
We're never getting there. God, when they need a welder out in those woods too, it's going to be a while for that. So they said, familiar with it. So he signs his confession at 4:27 a.m. here on October 8th. And at one point, as he's signing it and everything, they're getting it wrapped up. He looks up at Sheriff Porter here, or whatever he is, police officer Porter, and says, quote, "This'll be murder one, won't it? Premeditated all the way." Right?
Probably. That's not up to me, but,
Hey, I don't do the charging.
Like
This will be murder one, won't it? Premeditated all the way? Well,
you brought a kid to the woods and brought a fucking samurai sword? I mean...
You had other people bring him there. Like, this was very planned. This was as premeditated as it gets. So, he's arrested. When he's arrested, by the way, there's a couple of statements he makes that are fucking phenomenal. Yeah. First off is... he told the cop that he's very angry that he's the only one being charged with this, because at the time he's the only one charged. And he tells the Porter, the cop, quote, "I'm not going down on this alone." And then he says, "Glenn, Paul, and Brenda are just as guilty as I am." Quote, "Sure, I killed him, but they all knew it was going to happen." He just wants company.
Why is he so...
He's such an asshole.
Such a chicken shit.
He's
mad that a
asshole.
16-year-old was gonna rat him out, and then he involves all these people in a murder, and then rats them all out.
That's what I mean. This guy is an asshole. Don't trust a guy who's 25 and hangs out with and sells weed to 16-year-olds. Period. End of story. Book closed.
This is going to go bad one way or another.
That's it. Yeah.
Somebody's losing butthole virginity, or we're all going to jail.
Or everyone's going to jail. Hopefully the one who's taking butthole virginities against people's will and in an underage fashion. So later that day, after he's been arrested and told all that, he says, "Can I see Porter again?" He goes, "Okay." Porter comes back, and you got anything extra to add? Yeah. And he says, "Well, I just want to correct some lies that I made in my confession." They're like, "Great.
All right. We're listening."
I'm all ears, Chief. What do you got? He said, "Well, during my second statement here, I'm going to tell you this." And then he tells him a whole other statement, and now Brenda actually stabbed him again. So First Brenda stabbed him, then he stabbed him, now Brenda's back to the stabber.
It sounds like he pawned it all off on her.
Yeah.
Then took the responsibility, thinking, "I'll
because his dad made him feel bad."
Said it. Yeah, I'll do the time, whatever. Now I don't want to do the time.
Changed my mind. Figured out jail sucks.
Sure.
Brenda's a bad lady. You don't want to mess with her, boy. She will take you out and go, "Charlie fucking M." That's what's going on with Brenda.
Well, now that I've taken all the responsibility, I feel bad because I've unleashed her on the public to be screaming "Charlie fucking M" in the Safeway parking lot. I'm terrified for society. I've really got to right this wrong.
I need to do it. So he He does that. Then, wow, 3 days later is the official indictment. So this is legal now, official indictment.
72 hours he sat in jail. Oh, boy.
He gets all angry while he's being put back in jail. Porter's still there. He yells at Porter, and this is loud enough so many other people hear it, not just Porter. And I don't know what this is in regards to, but he says, quote, "I may be a murderer, but I'm not a goddamn thief."
What?
I may be a murderer, but I am not. Yells it indignantly, like how someone accused him of stealing something, I guess, and he said, "I may be a murderer, but I'm not a goddamn thief." He said this before his murder trial, which isn't good, generally.
I may be a child molester, but goddamn it, I pay my bills.
But goddamn it, I close up the cereal bag and shut the box when I'm done with it so it doesn't get all goddamn stale. Understand me? Please don't isolate what Jimmie said, by the way, and use it against him, I beg you. That's not going to be good for anybody.
But I do pay my bills.
What I do, he does, but you can isolate that. I pay my bills. That's what it just says.
That's it.
That's true. So he says all of that like an idiot. Then on October 12th, while in the courthouse for his indictment, he spontaneously said to another deputy sheriff that, yeah, I hit Gary on the head with a shovel, and both me and Brenda covered it with dirt, and then I was the one who ran the sword through him 5 or 6 times. Oh my God. He's just bored hanging out with the deputy, just chit-chatting like, what'd you do last weekend? Well, I'll tell you what. So Brenda gets arrested for, she's some part in this. She gets arrested, and she will say when she's arrested, this is to Porter again, Detective Porter, quote, "I guess I knew Gary was going to be killed, but it just didn't register." She's like, I guess he did say it, but I didn't think it was actually going to happen.
12 angry men. Sometimes you scream, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah, and it's exactly. And it's also of people, especially jackasses who, talk a big game, hang out with 16-year-olds and have samurai swords on their wall of their trailer, probably say, "I'm going to kill that guy, I'm going to do this." Probably says a lot of dumb shit that you just don't even take stock of, is what she's saying. She said that she and Joel drove him along a woods road, had Gary in the car. She said that she remained in her car while Joel walked into the woods with Gary. Yeah. So that's her story. I sat in the car. He said, "Stay here," and I took him in the woods. She said that when Joel came back to the car, quote, "I looked at Joel and he looked at me and I knew Gary was dead."
Oh, boy.
Wow. Later on, they questioned her later in the month as to whether or not she got out of the car in the woods, and she said, "I don't want to know if I hurt the boy. He was only a little boy." That's what she said at that point. So I don't know what that means, but she's going to jail for something, I think.
Yeah, accomplice.
Yeah,
for sure.
So she seems to have a lot of remorse for any role she had in it. She definitely has some remorse for it, whatever. But she's not willing to take a ton of responsibility. So Porter said that he didn't interrogate really Brenda while taking her statement. He said that she just kind of, she made a big statement, and then he just asked her, check the wording she wanted to use in there, to make it more incriminating, I'm sure.
Sure.
So now we enter Brenda Martin, another Brenda. Everyone's named Brenda in Maine. 7,000 people, 3,500 of them are named Brenda. Watch out. We've only had 2 women in this story that are both named Brenda, so just saying. Brenda Martin, not Brenda Younk, she said that Brenda Younk had told Brenda Martin, murderer Brenda told non-murderer Brenda that she'd been smoking pot that day and that she slapped Gary around and had used a 10-inch sword, which it's not 10, but either way, a 10-inch sword on the victim because she felt she had buried him in an unconscious state and that he was not dead.
Okay, so she said that she stabbed people now.
Now, but to me, Brenda Martin, this sounds like she read the newspaper article and found that there was a 10-inch wound and then said that Brenda told her there's a 10-inch sword. in the newspaper of the time, I looked in all the newspaper archives and shit like that, and all of the articles have the same thing. They all say 10-inch wound, 10-inch wound, 10-inch wound.
Got it.
So it feels like Brenda Martin possibly read that and then said, Brenda Yauk told me there was a 10-inch sword because there's a 10-inch wound, and she didn't get the rest of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why to me that sounds made up.
Maybe she heard that from Brenda, I stabbed him, and then she saw the 10-inch thing in the newspaper. It could be both. You know what I mean?
It could be both. That's true, too. Yeah, it could be one or the other or both, but I don't think – one thing's not true is that Brenda Yauk didn't tell her that I stabbed him with a 10-inch sword because the sword's not 10 inches, and Brenda knew that. So half of what she's saying is not true at least, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So there's that part, but we'll get more of Brenda Martin a little later. So she said, though, Brenda Yauk said, part of her statement said, when we had driven far enough, Joel told me to pull over, and he and Gary got out. I proceeded up the road far enough until I found a wide enough piece of road to turn my car around, and I went back. It's all hazy. I don't really remember much of anything from there on. I don't believe that at all. She said she will maintain that the next thing she remembered was not in the woods with a murder. She said the next thing she remembered was Bishop, you know, the birthday boy, Carl Bishop, lying across her lap to get his birthday spanking in the kitchen. These are adults. Stop spanking children. Don't do this. I had a gym teacher that lost his job for doing that, for doing birthday spankings, and he deserved it. He was touching children's butts.
How long ago? How far?
This was like 1988. He was touching our butts in class. Oh no, I was lucky. My birthday was right after school ended. Sorry.
Thank God I'm in the summertime.
All right, June.
I win.
Yay! Sweet. My parents fucked in October. Awesome.
How far from the murder are we now? How far the trial is? How far after?
Oh, this is like the next month. These are just when they're getting witness statements.
Already she's forgetting shit.
I forgot. It's very hazy.
I can't recall.
All I remember is sexually assaulting a child. That's the last thing. That's the last memory I have. Inappropriately touching a child. And
sexual torture on his birthday.
Damn it. Don't isolate that either. See, we're both fucked now. So she said that that's what she remembered. They were all in the kitchen. Joel was there spanking a child. Glenn was there and all that kind of shit. So now other witnesses here are other people at the party. One is Timothy Walker. There's Timothy Walker, Carl Bishop, and Daniel St. Jean or St. John or whatever. St. James, sorry. Mm-hmm. They all say that they've been... they were present at the party. They saw Joel and Brenda leave the party. This is important because their alibi was we were at the party. They saw them leave the party and come back later. They said the three of them, though, under cross-examination later on, will say they were drinking beer and smoking weed at the party, and they couldn't. None of them could actually remember seeing them leave or return in a car. So were you outside watching them drive off down the road? No.
Right. I'm inside smoking weed and drinking. What are you talking about?
They had their keys and they left, and so then they came back an hour and a half later, and we figured they must have went somewhere. That's all.
Can't imagine they walked it.
Calling all dog owners. Your furry friend deserves top-notch nourishment, and Ollie delivers the clean, fresh nutrition your dog needs in 5 flavors they'll absolutely flip over. Ollie is made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world, with absolutely no harmful fillers or preservatives. With protein-first recipes like fresh beef with sweet potatoes, fresh turkey with blueberries, or fresh lamb with cranberries, you might start thinking, dang, my dog eats better than I do. And that's probably true when it comes to Ollie. Give your pup a fresh start this new year by letting them taste test a personalized meal plan with Ollie. Head to ollie.com/Wondery. Tell them all about your dog and use code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Plus, they offer a clean bowl guarantee on the first box. So if you're not completely satisfied, you'll get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/Wondery and enter code WONDERY to get 60% off your first box. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie. Start your dog's new year off right with Ollie.
Creating really great retail experiences is tough, especially with multiple stores, teams of staff, fulfillment centers, separate workflows. It's a lot. But with Shopify Point of Sale, you can do it all without complexity. And let's face it, acquiring new customers is expensive. With Shopify POS, you can keep shoppers coming back with personalized experiences and first-party data that give marketing teams a competitive edge. In fact, it's proven, based on a report from EY, businesses on Shopify POS see real results, like 22% better total cost of ownership and benefits, equivalent to an 8.9% uplift in sales on average relative to the market set surveyed. Want more? Check out at shopify.com/Wondery. All lowercase, and learn how to create the best retail experiences without complexity. Shopify.com/Wondery.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fucking October in May.
No shit, man. So Daniel here, he says that they did, all three of them identified the sword as the one that is always in the trailer. So they do know that. They also say that he met with Walker, who's Timothy Walker, and Brenda, by the way, at the courthouse 1 week after he was reported missing. They all met on the courthouse steps to have a little powwow.
Holy
so
shit.
No one had been arrested yet. So Daniel said that Brenda told them at the time to, quote, keep our things together because police don't have any proof. So Joe Pesci, she came in there and said, listen, keep it together.
Holding a toothpick in her mouth, talking with her hand over her mouth.
Flipping a nickel.
Yeah.
Old-timey. Going real old-timey.
So they can't read our lips.
He's doing that, cupping it over his mouth. I tell you what, they're onto us. You know what I mean? I could feel it. I could feel it. So somehow, by the way, even though they're both in county jail, Brenda and Joel, somehow they get married while they're both in there.
What?
I don't know how that works. I don't know how it's possible, but somehow they get legally married while awaiting murder trials.
Couple that slays together.
There you go. Slays together, they're going to fuck together. So more than that. Yeah. A matron at the jail on the women's side, she said that Brenda would communicate and with Joel, and Joel would communicate with Brenda several times a day by exchanging audio tapes. They tape big, long statements to each other and then hand them. I don't know if they're lettered or not, but
take her my mixtape.
Here you go. I sang her some Van Halen on the end of that. She's going to like it, I think.
The statements between Van Halen and some Bon Jovi.
A statement between Van Halen lyrics and a man's wife cannot be intruded upon by the state. Now, that's a goddamn constitutional amendment. And I don't know if maybe that was the reason why they got married was, hey, if we're married, they can't make us, tell on each other.
Yeah.
You know how dumb people are. They just think of shit like that and do it. I think maybe that was probably what it was. Who knows? Now, the matron of the jail here, Wendy Sabatis, she said that Brenda was very emotional and very much in love with Joel Smith and at times extremely depressed while in jail. Yeah. You're a 20-year-old with a 2-year-old kid awaiting a murder trial. I'd be depressed, too. That's terrible. She became extremely depressed at one point, and then 3 days later, she made a taped confession she said she did everything. The matron said she delivered this taped confession to Joel in his cell, and he cried before listening to the tape, meaning that the matron led her to believe that he knew what was on the tape. They had planned this, and this was what he needed to get out, and he was happy that she did it for him. So he was psyched now. Happy tears. This matron also said that Joel could, quote, almost control Brenda, and that she would do nearly anything he asked of her. A friend of Brenda's said that over a period of months, Brenda had given her several inconsistent versions of the killings, and then on one occasion, Brenda stated that Joel asked her to confess and take all the blame.
He is a super predator, man.
He is a bad fucking guy, man. I mean, he learned early how to do that, how to be a terrible person early, but still, it's in there, and it's not good.
It's imprinted.
Holy shit. And there's other people, too, that have heard that, because he told other people that he was trying to get her to take the blame. Yeah. And he never shuts the fuck up, too.
Yeah, he's a very yammering son of a bitch.
wow, everybody says that he exerts a lot of control over Brenda and, all of that shit. So it's an interesting thing, though, that that matron lady was like, he seemed to know exactly what was on. He like grabbed it and held it and cried when I gave it to him. Paul Ankerson, here he comes. He says now he has a new story, too, to help. Yeah. This helps Joel a little bit, or he's trying to help Joel. He says that, listen, remember that Daniel St. James guy?
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened here with that guy. He said that night at the party, before Joel went anywhere, I saw that Daniel St. James put a, quote, hit of tea in Smith's beer that night.
Huh.
And they describe a hit of tea as a hallucinatory drug. So slipped him some acid, slipped him something like that in his beer. I don't know. That's, again, some Maine slang. I don't know, 1978 Maine drug slang. Who the fuck knows? It's kind of like, I'm going to knock him,
Could it be like shrooms tea? Some psychedelic shrooms tea?
Maybe, but he'd taste that, I would assume. Whereas, you could put a tab of acid in somebody's shit and they wouldn't notice it. Whereas,
maybe
you'd notice.
For tab.
Why is there mushrooms floating in my...
Why is it swirly?
Yeah, this is weird. I don't like mushroom beer. Man, these IPAs are weird nowadays.
Pale as fuck.
Oh, man. Super strange. So he then said, Paul Ankerson said that he watched this happen and that the alleged murder happened the same evening. They asked him, well, what does tea do? And he said, it, quote, makes you do a lot of weird stuff that you can't remember afterward. Very, like if you were to murder someone, you'd never remember it and wouldn't be criminally responsible for it.
4-6 inches deep and stab them.
It's really strange, but it doesn't. Yeah, stabbing is a big part of it, too. Paul also will say and testify to court that Joel had $1,200 with him the night of the murder, and that's what he was going to offer. That's what he was trying to offer Gary, was $1,200, and to start a new life.
It was 16. That ain't stretching far at all.
No, it was an aggravated trafficking charge, by the way, for a half ounce of weed. I think the aggravated is because he's a minor.
Right,
I think that's probably what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So the court proceedings here. The state police investigators said extra precautionary measures were taken during the arraignments because of indications harm might come to some of the three suspects. The town has gotten angry about it.
Yeah.
Particularly Gary's mom, Ruth, is extremely angry, and people she knows are very angry. Yeah. Everybody entering the courtroom, including Mrs. Ruth Nadeau, were searched by police. So it's a big search. No, they didn't have metal detectors. They just had to pat everybody down. Mm-hmm. So evidence against Joel. All right. Well, multiple confessions, number one.
That's bad. His own words is
It's
awful.
not great. Mud and blood on his clothes.
Yeah.
Saying, quote, I got him good. He'll never speak or talk again to multiple people.
Right.
Saying I may be a murderer, but I'm not a goddamn thief to a cop, cop no less. Boasting to several people that he had taken care of Nadeau by beating, burying, and stabbing him. Next day, he was concerned about blood on his clothing and told multiple people about that. Mm-hmm. Asked somebody to help him sand down a murder weapon to get blood off of it, then asked a separate person to dispose of these murder weapons. Also made a spontaneous statement that it was he who had beaten him with a shovel and stabbed him with a sword, and not Brenda, several times. Now, Joel is going to...
That's a mountain.
That's a lot of evidence, and multiple people. There's witnesses to the murder. People dropped it. It's not good, man.
Right.
So he is going to plead innocent by reason of mental defect, or mental disease or mental defect is what it is. Okay. So he's a dumb shit. I don't think that falls under the.
I don't think so either.
Under the purview there, but we'll see. So that's what he pleads here. He's arraigned. He's arraigned, like we talked about. And he also is going to be arraigned on being an accomplice to armed robbery. And because I don't know if he stole something from him or what, but that's why he said he's not a goddamn thief, so he was mad at the charge.
Okay. Maybe somebody took something out of his pocket and they're charging him with the robbery
Possible.
also.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. So he's not charged with like killing a witness against him, though, which is interesting. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if the laws were different for specific charges on that.
Feels like that's pretty easy to prove. So
absolutely, that's the whole goddamn point. Yeah. So he's remanded to the county jail. Brenda's also indicted. She pleads innocent by reason of mental defect as well.
Everybody running that one.
Yep. She's also arraigned. She is also on charges, by the way, of unlawful furnishing of scheduled drugs and unlawful possession of stolen drugs. If they're drugs, any possession of them would be unlawful if they're illegal. So what difference would it make if it's stolen or not?
The theft of them, it makes it worse.
I've never heard of that before. Oh, never mind. I know exactly why that is. Never
Why
mind.
is that?
I know it is. You'll see. Hold on a minute here.
Okay.
She entered. I forgot all about this here. That's
boy.
right. I forgot about Larry Hazelwood. Here he comes. Other people are going to be indicted, like Paul Robert Akerson and, of course, Glenn Terrault there as well. Tetrault is going to be indicted as well. Larry Hazelwood is indicted on charges of burglary. He's a 21-year-old. Burglary, theft of drugs, pleading innocent in his arraignment, and he pleads innocent to this. Theft of drugs makes sense in this regard. He's been charged with breaking into the Caribou courthouse and stealing drugs they had held in there as evidence for fucking trials. That's awesome. That's like
he's robbing the cops of their evidence.
Yeah.
It's genius. That's where it's at. You're right.
That's like the French Connection.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about that?
It's the guys that broke into. Where did they break into it? Yeah.
Well, no, it's a giant heroin bust that they made over the course of this giant thing of a huge thing, hundreds of pounds and all this shit. People stole it. Yeah. When they looked at it 10 years later, none of it was heroin anymore. It was like flour and Chinese newspaper shredded up.
Replacing it.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't just have a room with hundreds of pounds of heroin and then have nothing in there. So you had to put something in there. So they just put something else in there, but there was no heroin. That had all been stolen back, which is millions of dollars to do all this investigation. And then if you pay the evidence guy $1,000, he doesn't care. Go do what you want.
Go in and replace this with a store brand that says flour on the front of the bag.
Yeah, just a big bag of it. Johnson's baby powder and shit in there.
Just wrap it in tinfoil. It looks the same.
Oh, man. So they have a change of venue here because around these parts, this is all anyone's talking about.
Big deal. Yeah.
It's all anyone's talking about. So they moved to Somerset County, which is a different place. Joel wants his confession suppressed. That's what he was looking for here. Suppress my shit. He said that his whole thing was he told Porter, who was interviewing him in the middle of the night there, that he wanted to go to bed. And that Porter told him that it would be better to get everything out in the open right now, get it over with. And that he said because of that, he, quote, figured, Joel meaning, he figured that he wouldn't be allowed to go to bed and claims that his subsequent statement was influenced by lack of sleep. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. I do shows on no sleep live, and they come out great. So get the hell out of here. You know what you're doing. So he also, Porter said that he didn't say that he couldn't go to bed until he made a statement. He was just trying to convince him to not go to bed. Yeah. You can ask for a lawyer and you can stop and all that shit, but if you go, I think I'm getting tired, and he goes, well, let's just finish this up quick.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
If he said you'll go to bed when you give me every goddamn last word of this confession, not a second sooner, that's not okay.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem. So Porter said that the opposite, actually, that Joel gave him the impression he wanted to talk to him. And at no time did he attempt to leave or stop talking or say he wanted to go to sleep or any of that shit. So we were just hanging out bullshitting. So he said, though, it should be suppressed for two reasons. First, it was coerced. It was coerced. The statement was coerced because his dad was in the room and all that kind of shit. That wasn't okay to him. And so he says everything after that should be suppressed as well. Everything after my dad was there, that should all be suppressed. So they said, no, that's all going to be in. You're good on that.
Yeah.
The only thing that is not allowed in is the Brenda tape.
Oh.
because they want to bring in the tape because Brenda made an audio tape fully confessing to give to him to try to get him off.
Right.
And they're not going to allow that in because they say just because she said this on a tape and it's not.
She said it to him, right.
Yeah, so they said that it's ruling that its corroborative evidence did not clearly indicate the trustworthiness of the statement. So it's
also just because it's her voice doesn't mean that it's her. I've heard a lot of people say things in all kinds of celebrities' voices that make them say awful dumb shit.
Absolutely, but either way, legally, it's the uncorroborated testimony of a co-conspirator, which is you can't do that. Not allowed in court usually. They have to have some corroboration. So. They denied the motions to suppress the confessions, but they do suppress the tape and everything like that. And Caribou is overrun with what about the children? I mean, it's like there is a letter to the editor here talking about it's my fervent hope that this terrible murder will wake up people to the facts of the drug culture prevalent all over America today. It's all around us, our streets, our schools, our homes. Everyone's sweeping it under the rug. It's a sad state of affairs when society has come to accept drugs as a way of life and fails to be awakened to the deteriorating effects on our youth. So
remember when Snoop Dogg used to be crazy badass because he's smoking weed in videos and stuff? My grandmother smokes it now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's not.
Now he smokes it with Martha Stewart, so we're not real. Who's done more time in prison than Snoop Dogg.
Yes, yeah.
So they go on to say, everyone protests against taxes, pollution, war, and low wages. But where are the protesters against the most vicious threat to our most prized possessions, our children?
Okay.
So now Gary's mother, Ruth, is stepping in now. Yeah. And by the way, this lady's a sweet lady who...
Poor lady, man.
Just wants her son to be, fucking dead, Right. He was 16 years old, for Christ's sake.
She's trying her best with this kid. He's already given her fits. It's not easy for her.
And she's going to say a lot of stuff that makes a lot of sense in this episode, but not this part of it. They said, well, how did Gary know? Because she said he didn't buy drugs from Joel. That's what she said. She denies her son bought, quote, drugs from Joel. So she says he didn't buy drugs from Joel. She said a neighborhood youth that Gary knew stole some money. Okay, and her son Gary was approached with an offer of a reward if he could find out who stole the money. He's saying that Joel offered him a reward, saying someone stole my money. So he said Gary was with the boy who stole the money when that boy purchased that weed from Joel. Had nothing to do with Gary. Okay, or he doesn't know anything about weed. And then so the police learned about the purchase from Gary, and then after a series of questioning among the youths, and Ruth said that's how Gary met Joel Smith, which is not. We know that's not true. Right. Several people have said, and the reason they got...
That's the story that Gary told Mom so that Mom would get off his back. Right.
Well, yeah, everybody would tell their mom that, and that's fine. That doesn't mean Gary's a bad kid. We're not trying to say that. He's fucking bought weed. He's a 16-year-old. He's fucking around. Who cares?
Mom believes in her son and believes he'll do the right thing is all that is.
Yeah, and that's just a stretch. I mean, he ended up on the road because he went out to smoke joints and drink beer in the car with these guys. That was the point. I mean, which is what I would have done too when I was 16. Yeah. So the trial starts. It starts out as a joint trial, Brenda and Joel together.
Oh, boy.
Since they're married, why not? Sit them next to each other. So in the openings here, the Assistant Attorney General, Ferdinand LaRochelle, got quite the handle, or Fernand LaRochelle, he said that the state intends to prove that the Smiths now, since they're married, along with two other defendants, worked closely to create the chain of events that ultimately led to the murder of Gary Nadeau. Joel became concerned that Nadeau would testify against him in Superior Court. This all came to a head on Friday, September 15th. Evidence shows that Nadeau was to be at a party. Paul Akerson and Glenn Chetrault were to pick up Nadeau and take him to a spot where Joel and Brenda would pick him up. And exactly what happened. He said after that, the four returned to Smith's apartment at Caribou shortly after 6 o'clock. Chetrault and Akerson left to get Nadeau while Joel and Brenda went to the spot, and he describes what happened. exactly what happened there. And then they just went back and went to the birthday party. Next thing you know, they're spanking a child. So
we murdered a kid, then we spanked some kids. That's just what we do.
Where's the charge for that? I think my gym teacher was up on charges for that. He definitely got fired. Yeah. So the defense, in his opening statement, this is a lot to defend, man. Yeah. I don't know where the fuck you start here. He said that this guy said, quote, "We have co-defendants in this case. It will be like two separate trials, though. Evidence that may apply to one might not apply to the other. The acts of one are not necessarily the acts of the other. It is possible two different verdicts might be returned," he's saying. So, temper yourself here. It's not all the same. The defense attorney also said, "I'm sure you will come to the conclusion that there are some real doubts about what happened out there." I guess so. State's first witness here, a police inspector, he's the guy who first put the missing person report out when Ruth reported Gary missing. He said that the jurors, he told the jurors that he, quote, "knew that Gary was scheduled to testify against Joel in Superior Court in the fall." And they said, so Joel's attorney said, "Was there any case pending against Brenda?" Or Brenda's attorney, "Was there any case pending against her?" No. So they're like, see, why would she kill him? There you go. Case closed. Let Brenda go. So they've repeatedly asked for a severance of these trials, by the way. Both defendants want a severance of these trials, especially Brenda's attorneys, because
I want out of this shit.
She's the lesser. Yeah. I'm going to get lumped with this fucking guy here. On the first day of trial, they renewed requests that the case be severed, citing several problems involving the defendant's statements that are inculpating Brenda and her statements both exculpating her and inculpating this one and, the whole deal. They deny it, though. So at the start of testimony, Brenda made another motion to fucking excise herself from the situation, and they won't let her. So finally, though, the judge saying that two witnesses into the trial, he's now aware of the statement's role in the case and ordered Brenda severed from Joel, and then explained to the jury, quote, "I have taken it upon myself to sever this trial. You, the jurors, will draw no conclusions. I'm not indicating that Brenda is free. Her trial will come up later." So, we didn't just say, "Oh, she's fine, let's let her go." And by the way, during all of this, Joel never requested a continuance or moved for a mistrial. Oh. So it's not like they were denied anything there. Only two witnesses had testified, and those witnesses only testified to the location and condition of Gary's body. Yeah. It wasn't any of like their friends testifying to what they said or anything like that. So they said the defense counsel wanted to put the blame on Brenda in the beginning, but couldn't do that because they were together. That's why so later on, his people are going to say we were hampered by the fact that we couldn't put it on Brenda in the beginning, even though they were allowed to in their closing argument. Yeah. So witnesses come forward here, obviously. Donald Campbell, never heard his name before, right?
That guy? Yeah.
Another guy who said Joel told him he was going to get rid of Gary Nadeau and that he was going to knock him. Another one of those.
Joel, shut your fucking mouth.
Jesus Christ. So everybody testified. Carl Bishop, Tim Walker, Daniel St. James all testified that they heard what he said. Now, Brenda Martin, okay? Yep. Back to Brenda Martin, not Brenda Young.
Who we're not
Smith.
so sure, what she said.
What her deal is. Now, she is one of the defense witnesses at Joel's trial and one of the prosecution witnesses at Brenda's trial. Huh. Because
she's saying that she did it. So right.
So she said that she had gone to the Aroostook County Jail on May 19th to visit her boyfriend, and had also talked to Brenda in the visiting room. During their conversation, Brenda Martin said that Brenda Young had described slapping Gary around and stabbing him with a sword.
Oh boy.
So you're just hanging out in the visiting room waiting for your guest, and instead you talk to someone else's guest who you don't know and decide to confess to the murder that you're in there for. in the 5 minutes you're talking.
You're in
to
there just to visit at this point because you're not even in jail at the time.
Yeah, you're not.
Right.
Wow. Under cross-examination here, though, Brenda Martin did acknowledge that the police had threatened to charge her with an involvement in the crime if she refused to testify.
What?
They said, we're going to charge you as an accessory or say you're obstructing justice in a murder case or something like that if you don't testify. She did insist, though, that despite the pressure from police, quote, I say what I want to say and not what others want me to say.
Okay.
Closing argument, the prosecutor says that the jurors, you've heard two different versions. Quote, one indicates that Joel had personal involvement. The other says he was an innocent bystander. And they said, we think our evidence shows that we're correct and he actually did this shit and all of that. He says in none of the versions that go on so far is he an innocent bystander other than what he said now. But in any of the versions that he's ever said before, he's at least very involved in it. So they said that no one was out there. We just know the results. This is the defense. 2 people were out there. What happened to Gary, who participated in it, and what part did Joel Smith play? These are the most difficult things you're going to have to decide. The prosecutor, though, comes back and asks the jury on rebuttal, quote, what was the sword and shovel doing in the car?
Yeah.
He said, sure, I'll give you this. It is possible that the sword was just there to scare him. You know, people bring weapons to scare people into something, but, quote, he needed the shovel to bury him.
Right.
You don't bring a shovel to scare someone. You bring a sword. Yeah. They said
worse off, his internals were all mixed up with it. So what's it matter what it was there for? He used it for that.
And fractured his skull with it, too, with the shovel, and then dug a hole. The judge then told them they could return with either guilty of murder, guilty of manslaughter, or not guilty. Those are their 3 options here. Verdict comes in, 7 women, 5 men on the jury. They come back not too long. It's pretty goddamn quick. And he is guilty of murder, not of anything else here. During his sentencing now that comes up, he tells the court, quote, this is Joel speaking, I am sorry for what has happened, but that doesn't undo what has been done.
Right.
And then he blamed his involvement with drugs and alcohol as a contributing factor to the murder. But he never really said, like, I killed Gary and it's a terrible thing to do. He kind of, for what has happened, a lot of minimizing, language in that.
I'm sorry, but I can't bring him back. Also, I shouldn't have smoked weed.
Also, it's not really my fault because I was all fucked up. That was what he was getting at. So his attorney then asks for leniency, noting that Joel had been subjected to severe child abuse before the age of 2. Saying he was adopted by Joseph and Arlene Smith at age 2, and his adopted father's a deputy warden at the Maine State Prison. So, come on, cut him some slack. So the judge, looking at him, said that he, quote, found it difficult to consider a lesser sentence given the particularly vicious type of killing in this case.
Yeah.
And instead tells him, you, sir, may fuck off, life in prison.
Hey.
So he lifed him out pretty good. So he is sentenced to life in prison, but he's going to be immediately transferred to an out-of-state prison.
Why is that?
Here, because of it's going to be in New Hampshire. They have a prisoner exchange thing because his dad is a deputy warden in a prison, making him a high-value kidnapping target for other prisoners to get things, and also it just doesn't. It looks bad. Like he'll get special treatment. Also, it's just better to get him out of there. So they do. They ship him off to New Hampshire. So now Brenda goes to trial.
Oh boy!
And so they're. The Brenda Martin testifies against her about the conversation she heard in the jail and all that kind of shit. So the same thing we told you at the first one, she testifies now it's against her. Later on, also, she'll be interviewed, the Miss Martin here, Brenda Martin, by a governor's blue ribbon commission on corrections, and they discuss the case. They call it an academic viewpoint they're discussing it with, just to kind of see how this happened, this whole thing later on. So there'll be like hearings and shit just because of Brenda Martin's testimony, which is very interesting. But she says she maintains 20 years later that she told the truth in court, though. Okay. Now, like we said, I don't know what she does say she was threatened, but we have no idea. Now, the prosecution had a bunch of other witnesses, too, besides Brenda Martin. So it's not just her. The jail matron who testified that she heard Brenda make incriminating statements. And in her confession to the police, she said she was driving Gary to the death scene. And she said, I guess I knew Gary was going to be killed, but it just didn't register. It just doesn't seem real, and it still doesn't seem real. Okay. So there's all that shit. Yeah. Defense witnesses, they had one witness. One
person to defend her.
Alta Clark. I'm going to read this right from a newspaper at the time.
Yeah.
Ms. Yank's defense attorneys called only one witness, Alta Clark of Presque Isle, who must have made a striking figure on the stand since she is described in court records as being 6 feet 2 inches tall with red hair and no teeth.
That's a fascinating woman.
That is a fascinating person that I want to watch testify. Awesome. She, Miss Clark, who was also visiting the county jail on the same day that Brenda Martin overheard this, said that she was seated close enough to overhear the conversations between the Brendas, Martin and Yank. And she said that the two women did not discuss Gary's death.
Oh, shit.
So she said that lady's Brenda, the other Brenda's making
Brenda
it
Martin's
up.
A liar.
But Ms. Clark was present in the visiting room in the afternoon, and there was confusion at the trial whether the incriminating conversation took place in the morning or the afternoon.
Okay, got it.
So she might not have heard the right conversation. In the end, the verdict comes up, and it is 8 men and 4 women this time, and it is a verdict of guilty of murder. For Brenda. Not just accomplice, murder.
Like she did it anyway.
Yeah, which is interesting here. Yeah. Now, the judge comes back, and he said that there has been some testimony on the sentencing that she had been an active participant. In my evaluation of the case, I felt the strongest evidence against you was the evidence of your being an accomplice. So the judge says, I actually disagree with the jury's verdict.
I can't do that. Yeah.
But, so I'm not going to give you life in prison, but he says, you, ma'am, may fuck off 25 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the mandatory minimum. So that's the least he could do, because he said, I don't even think you deserve that, probably. So the others now, Jesus Christ.
Because they're all part of this shit, too.
Oh, there's all sorts of people in here. There's other people here. Edward Trombley is a witness saying that he talks about the events before the murder. He said that he picked Akerson up at his sister's house that day in Caribou, and later went to Joel's house on 2 separate occasions during that day. On each occasion, Akerson and Joel held a conference in the bedroom both times, he said.
Oh boy.
So they were planning this all day. Mm-hmm. We'll find out later on that they did dry runs as well.
Is that
of this.
right?
Yeah, plans and dry runs, and I'll hide here and you pull up and can I see you and all that shit. Very planned. That's allegedly. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So they said that Trombley said Akerson told him he was looking for Gary, and that the two saw the boy on the side of the road and stopped their car to talk to him. This is Akerson and Trombley. Yeah. Trombley said Akerson mentioned going to a party to Gary, and he said that, quote, he mentioned something about looking for Gary Nadeau to set him up for Joel. He was supposed to testify in some drug case about Joel. Also, the detective, Caribou police detective here, said the guy who interrogated Akerson, quote, Akerson said he knew Joel Smith was going to kill Gary Nadeau when he stopped on the road and spoke to him. Mm-hmm. So they also said that Akerson cried during the interrogation. And so Glenn and Paul are both found guilty here, but we'll talk about the legalities of this. They're found guilty of murder, but they're found guilty of felony murder, which is a lesser offense than murder, and it carries a maximum sentence of up to 25 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a little bit different, the deal here. I'll give you this. They received 7 years. The charge of felony murder was established by the legislature to deal with cases of persons involved as accomplices in certain crimes in which a murder occurs. Okay. So it basically means murder without your being the murderer.
Right.
I don't know why they can't just say accomplice. So, right?
Yeah.
They each receive, you, sirs, may fuck off 7 years apiece in prison.
One. Uh-huh.
They each get 7. Glenn and Paul. Which, I mean, that makes sense. They did set the guy up. They definitely should go to prison for that.
For sure, yeah.
So everybody's in prison. Ruth, Gary's mom, files a lawsuit against the city.
Oh.
Yes, the city, though, declares itself immune from the lawsuit under a Maine law in answer to the charges here. She said that she claims negligence on the part of the Caribou Police Department.
Oh, they should have been protecting him?
That they should have been protecting her son. She brings a $700,000 lawsuit against the city for that. The city based its affirmative defense on provisions of the Maine Tort Claims Act, though its attorneys, they have attorneys as well. They said that in general, the statute states that when a municipal office or municipal employee exercises a conscientious, prudent judgment in a discriminatory manner while carrying out an official duty, the municipality or its employee are immune to charges brought against anything that might happen. So they said, you're not getting shit, lady, is what they said to her.
Sorry about it.
Go fuck yourself, lady. And they're like, yeah, you and your dead son. Yeah, you're not getting nothing. They should give her something, Christ.
Certainly, yeah.
So after that, the cops are they're here to talk about drugs.
Yeah.
There's a cop here who is a Caribou Police Lieutenant Robert E. Long, and he said drugs are here to stay. If Gary hadn't been involved in a drug situation, he probably wouldn't be dead today.
Okay.
Obviously. So they said that now they have a drug education program underway in the schools here, and all of this shit. So that'll help.
Gonna fix all this.
That'll fix it. It got me to not touch the stuff, right? We are proof that didn't work because they put this all shit in. They put all this shit into play now for us, and none of it. We were like, what? Fuck you. So they also said that the thought of this is very weird too. There's they said that there'll be a drug market, but not if there's no customers to support it. So stop doing drugs. Okay, now 1988, by the way, or 1980. I'm sorry, 1980. Gary still doesn't have a headstone.
Oh, is that right?
He's just got a little marker there. So his mother comes out in the Bangor Daily News on June 16th, 1980, and says, "Please, can we ask for help?" Says, quote, "Because I can't afford a stone, people on the street say I deny he's my son. That's not so." Because the big rumor is, because he was on drugs, she didn't even put a headstone up because she's embarrassed. That's what people were saying. It's a fucking small town. So they said that people came to visit his grave that read about it, just wanted to visit his grave, pay their respects. And Ruth said that, quote, folks I don't even know visit his grave. Folks come from out of town and all over. I had a lady come from Thomaston, Connecticut, asking for help in finding his grave, and she asked me why there's no headstone. I feel that if people could send me 50 cents or $1, I could collect enough to get him one. Not anything fancy, but something decent. So that's fair. So she... by the way, she has 7 children ranging from 20 to 11 years old. So Gary was on the upper end of that. I mean, he was right in the mix of that.
How many does she have? 7?
7 from 11 to 20.
She just
she really went on a streak of pumping them out here.
Leave that lady alone.
She said she lives in cramped quarters. One of her older sons is in the service, the 20-year-old. She gets aid to her children, but she said it's not enough. She said her kids have had no new clothes in 2 years.
Oh, my God.
The city cut her food stamps ration from $186 to $154, and she was told she was not eligible for more stamps because her summer utilities bill was above the standard allowance.
The lady's got 7 kids, man.
Wow.
What the fuck?
And one of them's dead, so, because, Jesus. Anyway, she ran out of fuel last winter. You can't run out of fuel in the winter up there. It's not like, I'll be a little chilly. You'll just die. That's how it works. She had no fuel at Christmas time, and they were without fuel for a month. Oh, my God. One of her younger daughters had to be hospitalized as a result of exposure to the cold in their house.
Because it's fucking negative 12 degrees inside.
Jesus, she said there's no food in the house and there won't be any more money until June 16th, which is when this article came out anyway. She said she has not seen her husband for 12 years and she doesn't know where he is. She said, quote, Social Security couldn't even find him.
Oh, my God.
They asked, well, why aren't you working? And she said, if I could get that old car in the dooryard to run, I would be cutting potato seed. They couldn't find transportation for me. She has no car to get to her job. So there you go. They said, she said, please help me get my son a fucking headstone. That is crazy. She said, though, that they didn't get away. They didn't get what they deserved, talking about all the criminals. She said, my son was butchered. And she denies that her son purchased drugs. She said, that's why people say I disowned him, but he never purchased drugs, and that's not so. She said, how do you suppose your son ever came acquainted with Joel Smith? And that's when she went around that whole thing about how. So finally, about 2 weeks later, Gary gets a stone.
Okay.
The Bedrock Granite Corporation of Bar Harbor contacted the Bangor Daily News cartoonist that he knew to see if can you be the go-between, offer her a stone. So they said that they're offering both a headstone and a footstone for the grave. And Ruth said, oh, fantastic. I think it's really fantastic. She also said she received many letters and about $53 from people who had read the news story. She expressed her thanks and said she was considering buying flowers for the grave with the money once the headstone's up. Jesus Christ, this is depressing.
Just those are going to die. Just put fuel in there.
Yeah, dude, buy your kids some shoes or something.
Stay warm, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, fuck, man. So the stone was being shipped to Caribou as we speak, they said. So Joel appeals based on saying the presiding justice erred in his delay in severing the trial. Okay. Basically, you didn't sever it soon enough. Yeah. And I was, I couldn't.
When the judge was appalled, then you pulled it.
Then he pulled it. Yeah, he said he didn't get the antagonistic opening remarks that he would have liked to have had, essentially. So, but they affirm his conviction.
Good.
Fuck off, Joel. Yeah. He can eat dicks. So life in prison for Joel. He gets no more chances, really. Brenda's a whole other story.
Yeah.
First of all, the Brenda Martin thing in 1986 becomes a big deal as they talk to her. They're talking to her as part of a bigger thing, as part of an investigation into questions of possible perjury and police coercion, just in general, in cases.
Brenda Martin? Yeah.
Yeah. So she's part of it's not specifically for Brenda Younk. It's just
she's doing it on a larger scale.
Yeah, she's part of a larger scale investigation here.
She's their professional witness that just testifies in all these cases.
Yeah, so that's what they have to. So Brenda appeals to the Maine Supreme Court on grounds that the prosecution should not have been allowed to introduce the sword into evidence and that the conviction went against the weight of the evidence. And the appeal is denied, though, on her. So that's denied. But now Ruth also, Ruth said, good, she shouldn't be let out. She said if she served every minute of that 25 years, that's not enough. She's still breathing. She's not dead. My boy is dead. My boy was killed for $10 worth of drugs and a $10 witness fee. She said, I don't know. I don't think she knows what weed costs. She bought a lid in like '67, and she doesn't know. Weed's probably gone up since then, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I get
that's fine. She's got 7 kids. She doesn't have time for weed. She said that Gary said he could testify. Gary said he could testify because Joel Smith would kill him. They told Gary that the only way he would be safe if Joel Smith was put behind bars. Gary told the cops, I don't want to testify. I'm scared of him. And they said, well, if he's behind bars, you'll be safe.
Yeah.
For 3 months, and then he'll be out and pissed off at you. But for then, you'll be real safe.
But it's aggravated trafficking. There's no way they're going to get him with that, right? With a half ounce?
He's
going to plea that down in a second.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's very silly. So he said also, she talked about Paul Akerson, and she's just pissed at everybody, which I don't blame her. She said Joel Smith and Brenda Younk came out of the woods. She struck him in the head, breaking his nose and jaw, then kicked him in the groin. They put him in the back seat of the car, she said, when Gary came to, they hit him across the knees and over the top of the head with the shovel, nearly decapitating him. They used the shovel to dig a shallow grave and put him in it. Then they returned to Caribou to attend a birthday party and establish an alibi. They had a 3-foot Japanese sword. She stabbed him twice in the chest and racked the sword through his kidneys. That's what killed him. So now she's blaming it on Brenda, the mother, which she doesn't know that. But still, she's angry. It's a mother's. I get it. The extent of her participation is only something we can surmise from the evidence. This is the prosecutor. She was out there clearly. Whether she did those things affirmatively, there is some dispute about that. So her next try, Brenda's next try here, she has been serving at the Women's Correctional Facility in South Windham. Now, she ends up this time, there's a governor's, there's like an executive clemency board here.
Yeah.
And they base this decision based on the Brenda Martin incident and what that investigation uncovered. They take, as like a prorate the sentence for you a little bit. Yeah. They take 2 years off her sentence.
Oh, sorry about that, lady. We'll give you
23 years.
Yeah.
All
right.
23 years. So, her case is still going on at that point, and her next time, 2 years later in '89, they want clemency for her.
Really?
There's a lot of people that want clemency, and her, including the prosecutor in this case.
Really?
Testifies on her behalf as well. It's fucking crazy. We'll talk a little bit about it. They urge that the primary issue is that, quote, Brenda Smith is not the same person she was at 19. They say that she was tried and convicted as an accomplice, and she's undergone a radical change. An accomplice, not an accomplish. She's undergone a radical change, and that she has reached a point where she can make a contribution to the community. They said the board could decide in favor of commutation based solely on testimony that Brenda Smith has changed. The chairman of the member panel makes recommendations to the governor on requests for this and all that kind of shit. They said, though, they're going to delay this and all this. Even more people here come. Number of witnesses testify, including they're now divorced, by the way, Joel and Brenda.
Right.
Joel's warden father and mother. So this lady's ex-in-laws came and testified on her behalf. The father said that he'd never spoken on behalf of any other inmate.
Oh.
An entertainer named Benny Reel, Reehl. Do you know who that is?
Never heard of it.
I don't know if that's like a local Maine guy. He plays the beaver pelt.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know. We'll find out when we get up there. Maybe he'll play our club. Not sure. But he also testified on her behalf. The director of the art program at the Correctional Center also, which is very interesting, I would say. Wow. Also, her ex-husband, Michael Younk, father of her now 10-year-old son, said that he and his wife, Linda, traveled at their own expense from Michigan. Try getting that past your new wife. Hey, let's dig into our savings and let's travel. I know we only have 3 days of vacation the whole year, but we're going to use it to travel to Maine so we can testify in front of a clemency board for my ex-wife who's in there for murder. What do you say? Wow. Good luck with that.
You can go testify for my ex-wife that's in for murder. No, we're not.
No, we're not. No, it's gonna cost us a lot too. It's gonna be very expensive and time consuming and super inconvenient and
let's go.
Bad for all of us, but we're doing it. So anyway, they go through all of this, all these witnesses. People from prison testified that she has considerable artistic ability, which she's been developing at the Maine Correctional Center. Well, she'll have more time to develop it then.
Yeah, that's positive.
23 years. Donald Hill, who heads the building trades program at the prison, described Brenda as, quote, head and shoulders above any other inmate that he's ever worked with. She is, he told the board, a talented woodworker and has made kitchen cabinets and stereo cabinets. Okay. Terrific. Another resident here, that's Benny Reel, who's co-founder of the New England New Vaudeville Review. No one's ever heard of this band. The fuck out of here.
He writes up vaudeville?
I do a form of art that hasn't been around for 50 goddamn years for good reason. Cool, huh?
He doesn't even do it. He reviews it.
Review. Well, the review. No. He's a member. Review is in UE.
Oh, okay.
Like
So
that they do it.
Yeah,
he's part of it. But that's confusing. Thank you for correcting that. He participates. He says that she participates in an art program at the prison that he runs, and explains to the board that he uses performing arts or storytelling and theater skills to help inmates build self-esteem And he said, quote, Brenda would not be a model. She would be the model for the kind of work I do.
Okay.
Whew. And the woodworking or the arts teacher there said that Brenda had the ability to take on a project and master it. In one of the projects, a linoleum cut of a horse's head was used on the cover of a brochure for the Artist in Residence program sponsored by the Maine Commission on the Arts and Humanities.
And it was her work.
Her work. They also learned that she received extremely high scores on the GED test.
Oh, who cares?
Which, so did I. That means nothing. I'm a moron, and I have literally a high honors GED, which is the funniest fucking oxymoron of words that's ever been put together. So, and they said she's even taking college courses in prison. Okay. Even the prosecutor, La Rochelle, said that law students working at the Cumberland Legal Aid Clinic believe that she has been successfully rehabilitated and petitioned his office to take a position in favor of commutation.
4 years. She's not a murderer anymore.
She's fine. She's good now. It's been 10 years. Okay. She said, either way, though, they said, La Rochelle said a law school student came to my office with documents indicating there was progress with her rehabilitation. I met with Brenda. It was evident that she's made a great deal of progress. The person I saw did not appear to be the same person from the 1979 trial. He said he doesn't support a clemency petition for him, but given the nature of the crime, which was pretty horrible, I could not affirmably support a commutation petition, but I agreed not to oppose any request for a reduced sentence. Okay. To not have the prosecutor there saying, fuck that, is a huge part of this shit. So Ruth said, how can this happen? How can anyone get rewards for the murder of a child? Yeah. This is the mother, obviously, talking about burying her son. She said, every morning when I get up, I remember how she beat my boy until every bone in his little body was broken, beating him with the same shovel that she dug his grave with. She had to return to the grave with a 3-foot wartime sword to make sure he was dead. She went through the grave and driving the sword through his half-dead body, she finally killed my child. But he did it, though. It was I get where she's coming from. Totally. She said, I've been waiting to get my case in a courtroom, but I can't. For 8 years, I've been waiting to hear from the Attorney General's office as to why I was removed from the courtroom and made to sit in the hall of the courthouse for 5 days during Joel Smith's trial. Probably because she was a witness at one point, but
she was acting crazy in there.
I don't know. And why I was treated like a criminal when they had their murderers in custody. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It makes sense. Yeah. She said, why then should I care for either of them? I want them both to go through the hell like we had to go through. Hate? Yes, I hate them. And I also hate the system called justice and what it stands for when it can protect the guilty and not the innocent. That's Ruth. So, she also said that she hasn't been getting all of the notifications for when Brenda's up on board shit for clemency and all that. She said she wasn't at one of the hearings because she didn't get the notification. So she's mad. Either way, Brenda gets out of jail in 1994, I believe.
Oh, boy.
So she's out and free. 1990.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Glenn Tetrault.
Yeah.
He's out, obviously.
Yeah, 7 years.
His house burns down.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, oh, well, whatever. But the problem is it's his parents' house, I guess.
Oh, shit.
Oh, it's his in-laws' house. The Rickardses are the Rickards are his in-laws, and their house burns down, and now he's homeless. So that's not terrific.
No.
1994 is when Brenda wanted more time off her sentence, and they said she was released in late 1995.
Okay, all right.
So she did end up doing 17 years.
That's a long time.
So Ruth, on the other hand, she is now not wanting for anyone to get out. She wears a shirt that says Justice for Gary on it to everywhere she goes, to all the hearings and everything like that. She said, though, the state has showed little consideration for his memory and for the psychological impact his death has wreaked on their family.
Sure.
That's what she said. She held up a picture of her dead son during a hearing and said she recently had a stroke, but her memory of the murder and her unending pain is not going away. She said, there's not a night that has been passed since Gary's death that I put my head on the pillow and I think about the way he died and I think of the ones that murdered him. It will stay with me forever. Yeah, she said, what about my rights? These people are in prison, but me and my family got a life sentence with no parole when my son died.
She's right.
2000, Glenn Tetrault.
You got a place again?
Well, no, not quite. No. He got a place, but it's jail. Guilford man charged with growing marijuana, and it's him. It's so stupid. He was making an initial trip to court here. They found, acting on a tip, officers in the sheriff's department searched his property and found 5 plants growing in a wooded area near his home.
Already planted them in the woods.
Yeah, fucking break. Jesus Christ. Near his home.
Out of that.
And they also found some weed in a bag. They found a Ziploc baggie of some dried weed and some, quote, paraphernalia. So he had a bowl and some weed, and he's growing 5 plants in the woods that are going to die anyway. He didn't hinder the search, and they said that the sheriff's department has aggressively began its summer marijuana eradication efforts. Apparently they go around and do all this. That's in 2000.
In the woods.
Yeah. Now they let it grow free. Yeah. But they did all of that for Glenn Gets You, sir. They fuck off, a $400 fine. So man hours and all this shit, $400.
He should have just bought weed. It's cheaper.
Yeah, so stupid. So that, everybody, is Caribou, Maine.
And a bunch of...
Life. Oh, yeah, his life. Yeah. He's done. He's there. So a bunch of fucking wild shit going on there. Swords and weed and bullshit stories and...
bunch of people that shouldn't have known each other.
Nope. None of them should have known each other.
No reason to be around each other.
He should have known none of these people, Joel. He should go to work and come home and go, what are those kids doing out there? Get off my lawn. I'm tired. I'm 25. I have other shit to do.
I have a 20-year-old girlfriend with a baby. Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of my house. This is crazy. So... wow. If you like that show, tell the world about it. It really does help. Get on whatever app you're listening to and give us 5 stars. Say something nice. It helps drive your boys up the chart. Yes. Help us out a little bit there. Also, you definitely want to follow us on social media. That is at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Murder Small on Twitter, and at Small Town Pod on Facebook. Yeah. That is where you get all the updates for things like when tickets go on sale.
Oh, you bet.
Which is very soon for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. But tickets you can get right now, shutupandgivememurder.com. You can get your tickets for the virtual live show, 420, April the 20th. It will be available for 7 days after that as well. We're going to do a whole week again. People seem to really like that. So we're going to do the whole week again, and it's going to be a crazy murder story. Lots of fun. I'm getting Jimmie stoned and making his head explode like a blood vessel because...
perhaps this is what would have happened if it was legal in 1978.
Exactly. We're going to do this, and it's going to be so much fun. Yeah. Not only that, you want to get tickets to the rest of the live shows, the live shows in the theaters. If you've never seen us live, it's a damn comedy show. You will leave with your sides hurting. Yeah. We're comedians, so we don't just sit up there and talk about murder and give dry facts because... as a comic, 30 seconds without a laugh is uncomfortable, and we're not going to let that shit happen. So we're going to definitely make you laugh a lot. So come out there, shutupandgivememurder.com. 2 shows in Seattle on March 23rd and 24th, and then 2 shows, 1 show each night, and then 2 shows in Portland on March 25th. And then we skip April. That's the virtual live show. And then May, we're in Detroit and Pittsburgh. And then finally, in a couple of weeks here, the rest of the year is going on sale. We cannot wait. March 13th, and head over to shutupandgivememurder.com to get all that information and your tickets today or March 13th or whenever. But do it right now and get over there. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you want to be. You sign up for that. You're going to get the whole back catalog, tons of bonus material, and you're going to get new episodes each and every other week. 1 crime and sports, 1 small town murder. You get it all this week, which you're going to get for the low price of only $5 per month. In addition to all of that, we're going to talk about the And One documentary on crime and sports. Not only the documentary, just kind of the whole culture of the thing, and see how you go from empire to embarrassment in 10 years. How do you go from cool to coals? How does it happen, damn it?
It's fleeting.
We will find out how that happens. And then for Small Town Murder, a very crazy subject, we're going to talk about sex in the People's Temple under Jim Jones in Jonestown and before they even went to Guyana. What happens when one man controls the sex lives of 1,000 people? Weird, disgusting, gross shit. So we'll talk all about that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you get a shout out as well.
Bet.
And when do those shout outs happen, Jimmy? Right goddamn now. Hit me with the names of the people who would never run a sword through us a few times. Hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producers are Corporal Carl Kirshner and his birthday bride, Christy. They're celebrating their anniversary and her birthday.
Happy anniversary. Thank you. And happy birthday.
Also, Moto Fab, Susan, and John McQuilkin. They came to our St. Louis show and thanked us.
Cool. Thank you
so
Thanks
much.
For coming.
Yeah, Jordan Bennett,
blast.
Midnight Wombat. She brought me a cigar in a fucking humidor tube. It's very thoughtful.
Gorgeous.
Maddie Lynch brought me. She's a talented baker. She brought us cookies with our faces on them. They're very nice. Morgan and Leah in Pittsburgh. Nicole Anderson and Kelly Ray. Jennifer Krimmel. Ayla, Krista, Dylan, Liz, Gary, Derek, and Ash. Remember Derek from Stand Up Live? He was there also. Jacob Waltrip and his 5-month girlfriend who bowled with me in St. Louis. Thank you guys so much for everything you do. You're fantastic. Other producers this week are Esteban, a.k.a. Cirque. I guess that's a nickname. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know what you do, Esteban, but Cirque sounds frightening.
Sounds badass.
Don and Jess Voss, Lisa Noble's sister Robin, happy birthday. Jim Ignatowski, I think
Hell
that is.
Reverend Jim.
There it is. WWWF, great Steve King.
I don't know.
Well,
old school there. Fucking old school is what that is.
That's Gary. He brings them hard. Peyton Meadows, Jimmy Dixie.
Like it.
Jimmy's Dixie enormous. No, it's not. Don't spread that rumor. It's horrifically small. Horrifically medium. Alan Hunkin. Tiffany Gonzalez says, eat your checkers, James. Eat your checkers.
Eat your checkers. I love that.
Darcy Standifer. Jane Melkinoff. Janice Hill.
Overboard. Eat your checkers.
Yes. Yeah. I thought you meant Janice Melkinoff. I'm like,
No.
She in there? Jane Melkinoff. All right. Stephen Lynch, but not that one probably. Carolyn Bonkowski. I don't know. Jennifer. Michelle Mixel. Mixel maybe. Jennifer Stevens. Brandy Huntley. Brendan Abels. Mike Gibson.
Brendan. What's up, buddy?
Yay, buddy. Little buddy. We've seen him so many times. He's a good kid.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What a good
Great
guy.
kid. Mayiki Gibson. I don't know. Mike. I like it's 2 A's and an I. Maike. That's Mike.
Mike. Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Griffin Monahan, Monaganon, Elizabeth Knowles, Amelie Strangfeld, Vider Ferreira, I think it's Vider. JC, maybe Jace, I don't know. And Janice Hersey. Janice Hersey. FEA, Lauren with no last name. Matthew Baker, Lady Magenta 100. Sassa with no last name. Hither L. Hodiri. Hither? All right. Nikki Beam.
Come hither.
Christy Conchery. I don't know. Nicole Armstrong. Jackie with no last name. Michael Kalish II. Amanda Engler. Duncan Gelder. Misty Lake. Yep. Kaylee Church. Scott with no last name. Matt Kimmel. Christopher Hamilton. Kathy Riley. Kurt Genishevich. What? Genovish? Rosie, 16. John Dewey. Franny Ann Lancaster. James Lane. Amber Elliott, Kim Gutierrez, Scarlett Gendro, Anthony Burnett, I think, Jake Henson, Mike S., Rascal the Asshole. That feels like an instruction. Sarah Holland, Luz Lino, Reyes, Heaven Instead, Gabriella Novak, Tadia, with no last name, A. Witz, Ted Perron, Chance Bosquet.
That's a cool name.
Christina Wilson, Tracy Rambo Harris is even cooler. Tim Varanzan.
Yeah, that's
Varanazan, that feels like a drug. Mickey Callie, Anthony Simmons in the UK, Elizabeth Weddick, Ronald Murphy, Alyssa Rubio, Roybal, Paul Mitchell, not the hair guy.
Wow, well, he has enough money from his hair supplies.
Yeah, Paul Mitchell and VO5, Michael Mertens, John Brophy, Victoria Hines, maybe Hins, Laura Marker, James Wiggers, Allison Hawking, Ren Keegan, Lauren Gazin, Yassine, BL Duff Fishing, Zane Carl, Heather Washburn, Patty Butters, Tracy Barber, Trisha Ogle, Cody Sruber. Saruber. Severvidov.
Blazing Saddles guy. God damn it, I'm consorted.
Tara Snyder, Kristen Henson, Senseless Slevin, Brian with no last name, Dave Clarion, Aaron Snyder, Gina with no last name, Russell Johnson, Casey Heinrich, Colin King, just King, Heidi B, Stina Nilsson, Mark Chappis, Trish with no last name, Mark Brown, Regina Ebner, Josh James Foster, Katie Phillips, Renee Lupfer, maybe, Greg Bradshaw, Beatrice, Queen Bee Krakow. Happy Valentine's Day. Butch Howell. Krakow. Butch Hall. Jenny Dorsonville. Sydney Portis. Catherine Mazer. Sarah Slattery. Elizabeth Pigot. Carrie Keener. Melissa Gray. Amy Mack. Ellie with no last name. Christy Brinkerhoff. Kat McGowan, Tommy Duggan maybe, Liz Lawson.
Jim's brother.
Likely. Tommy and John. Jim. It was Jim.
Yeah, accepted.
SM, Lake Elliott, Whitney with no last name, AC Brown, Erica Rangel, Adam Stokes, Courtney Kleppinger, Andre Hance, April Warner, Lexi McClellan, Wes Rager, Merk Haynes, Caitlin Buchanan, Silas Pritchard, Tacken Oberodso. What? Tacken Oberodso. Tacken Oberodso.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly
somebody
what it
just
is,
mashed the keyboard. There's no, that's not real, right?
Is it an Italian name, Jimmy?
It's literally TAKINOBORUDESU. No, that's not an Italian.
No, I don't think it is.
Takanobarudsadoo.
I like it, though.
I want that to be a first name.
Just
James,
because it broke your head, I like it.
Just because it ruins me. I hope somebody has to say that every day. James Jeck and Cubic. Jacubic. Chris Wachidowitz. Wadachowitz. Brian
Richard.
Boston.
That's what it sounded like.
Taylor Munson, Daniel Kelly, Logan Rinden Slackbacker.
Yeah.
Rindon
slacks.
Rindlespacken. I feel like the coach.
Zach Nabbit, no car started struggling, is going to tell me
the coach
otherwise.
From Rookie of the Year calling him Riggensperger. Paul Joggers, Grant with no last name, Asha with no last name, Anthony Gutierrez, Daniel Maldonado. Maldonado?
Maldonado? Is that what it was?
Thank you, Daniel. Abby Lee, Rachel Bonnet, Donald Martin, Raymond Kramer, Don Jackson, Josh with no last name, Brady with no last name, Leon Potter, Pellycraft maybe, Kevin Coffey, Austin Rohrer, Samantha Anderson, Keen, John Feiner maybe, Jennifer Wilkening, Matthew and Misty Sib, Daytona Ference, Talia Tessar, Shane Baker, Liz Mary, Santiago, that's a fun one.
Yeah,
Hannah Glenn, Zach Klein, Marilyn Neugebauer, Newberger, Rachel Donaldson, Jen and Sean, Tiptoe, TJ Strader, Chala Hamilton, Paul Peterson, Robert Levitt, Peyton Davis, and James, also all of our other patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, from the bottom of our hearts for all that you do for us. We hope you're enjoying it. Thank you for everyone in Cleveland and in St. Louis who came out to those shows. You guys were terrific crowds. That was the best way you could think to open up a tour that weekend was with two amazing crowds like that. Thank you for being there for us.
Thanks, Cleveland.
Fucking Cleveland, man. You showed up and you were badass. Maybe
did.
a lot of people from Buffalo, but I'm giving you the credit. It's fine. Those Pittsburghers, they have spirit. They came over.
True. Yeah,
but it's still Cleveland. But do that. Follow us on social media individually. Just head over to shutupandgivememurder.com and you will find links to that and each and everything else that we are ever talking about on here. But keep doing it. Keep coming back and seeing us. And until next week, everybody, it has been our pleasure.
Bye.
you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
It takes one guy out there to say, who's that Kyle who thinks he can just get on a microphone on a podcast and start publicizing this?
From iHeart Podcasts and Tenderfoot TV comes a new true crime podcast, Crook County.
I got recruited into the mob when I was 17 years old.
Meet Kenny, an enforcer for the legendary Chicago outfit.
And that was my mission, to snuff the life out of this guy.
He lived a secret double life as a firefighter-paramedic for the Chicago Fire Department.
I had a wife and I had 2 children. Nobody knew anything.
People are dying. Is he doing this every night?
Torn between 2 worlds.
I'm covering up murders that these cops are doing.
He was a freaking crazy man.
We don't know who he is, really.
He is my father, and I had no idea about any of this until now. Welcome to Crook County. Available now. Listen for free on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.